What if I told you?
ABA merger.
I could go to
Who the
78.
fuck won in like 2000?
Actually, I could go to
Who the fuck won in
77.
like 2005, bro?
That's kind of chills, bro.
2005 was this.
The Spurs.
Exactly. Wait, was this Spurs?
Only 1983. Who
Yeah.
2005 was Spurs. 04 was Pistons.
I never managed to
2003
my
was
bad.
Spurs.
I wasn't familiar
Lakers,
with the game,
Lakers,
bro.
Lakers.
All right. Join the lobby. Join the lobby.
Spurs. The Bulls. The Bulls.
Yo, what
the
if I have to
Bulls.
poo?
Oh my
Yo, they just
god.
go
Oh,
poo.
give me a second, but that's calling me.
Alright, go poo, go poo, go poo.
Go poo, go poo.
Go
Hey,
poo.
keep-
No,
keep
did I
that in.
actually?
Yeah.
Here.
Okay, I'll go poo before you get there. I promise.
No,
bro.
but make sure we can hear though.
What the?
Yeah. Make sure.
ASMR now. ASMR now.
Yeah.
Yo, when's
Tomorrow?
the ting? When's the ting? What's it like? The ting skin dropping?
The ting skin, yo.
The thing, bro.
Alex, the song.
Instagram.
Yo, that's what you're thinking.
Yo, whoever join Team A, bro.
I'm saying we randomize
I'm back.
team captains.
I'm
Or at
back,
least
I'm back.
eventually
Yeah,
we
me too,
randomize
Justin.
them.
Yeah, just shuffle teams,
I
bro.
agree with that.
Just shuffle
I also
teams,
have
bro.
to
Yeah, why don't we just shuffle
please,
the
bro.
teams?
Shuffle
Wouldn't that
teams, but we
make
have to
things easier?
separate GMs. That's it.
Okay, that's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
I'm completely okay.
How
with
about
that.
this? Okay, look,
That's
is
kind of fun though, you know.
Boston, Denver,
Bro, what are
Shut
you
the
saying
fuck
right now?
up, sir.
Golden State, Milwaukee, Lakers, Raptors, Golden State, Cavs, Golden State, San Antonio, Miami,
Motherfuckers be like leaving the country, bro.
Dallas,
Right.
Lakers, Boston. That is
San
San Antonio, Miami, San Antonio, Detroit, San Antonio.
Careful, please. What the
Lakers, San Antonio, Bulls.
Bro, this is why my streams have no viewers, bro. Bro, what are you?
Alan,
Bro, you proposed the question. Now you're answering your own question.
Yeah, this is.
Well, no
And
one
nobody
doubted that you could go up
cares.
to 77 though. Like no one doubted it. We believed in you.
I can
the
go to
entire way.
77, bro. I can go to
Yo, can you go to
77.
77
We
kills,
believe
bro?
you.
We believe you, bro. Please.
Oh, it's Shamar.
Oh man.
Yo,
It smells like weed, bro. It smells like
Yo, it
weed.
danks in
all
his
of a
voice chat,
sudden.
bro.
Holy, bro.
Marvel, you have a good session, bro.
Yo, Shamar, I've been using the
happy.
Bro, this guy
Shamar.
sounds like he's outside, bro.
Yo, yeah, he sounds like he's after. What the fuck?
Shamar, I've been using the Jamaican patois feature on Google Translate, bro. I'm
What?
gonna be able to talk
What
to
is
you
he
properly
talking
soon.
about,
Talk to you
This is
properly.
Google
crazy.
Translate added Jamaican patois to its translatable languages. You guys didn't hear about that?
And why is that? Why is that news to you?
Yo,
What, are you kidding me?
Are you saying that?
You're telling me I can finally talk like a bodman? I'm gonna take that opportunity any day of the week.
Yo, if you're talking like that, bro,
Talk-
Jetta might
talk
have to
like a bodman.
Jetta might have to bag you, bro.
Bodman.
Nothing
Sir,
else to
Phil, that
think about bodman,
sounded
bro.
kind of legit though, didn't it? It sounded kind of proper. Like when I said it. Be honest.
Notes, please, bro.
Why are you asking me for confirmation? Ask Shamar, bro.
I don't know. You say the N word.
Bro, stop putting me in this fucking team B, bro.
What?
Alan, what? What does Alan say?
Wait.
No, I said you ain't
Bro, I'm just casually playing a game. I'm ignoring y'all. What the fuck is
but if
going
you
on right
listen to
now?
all, like, from all of Alan's
Alan's
friends,
actually
it's probably, like, a
strategizing
little
which
bit
players to put on his team and shit
Yeah,
right
I'm
now.
putting none of you on my team, bro. Go fuck yourself.
Alan's a
Go fuck
freak,
yourself.
bro.
Randomly,
What did I do? I didn't even say your name.
Alan,
Say my name, say my
I'm
name.
like you're randomly stating my name, bro.
I said
love.
Surfel and Shamar. I don't know what this.
Bro,
guy's
stop
talking
forcing
about.
this, bro. It's not
I just won
happening.
18-0 right now. That's crazy.
Do we have enough people?
Join on AMIT, bro.
I'm joining you.
Alan.
Give me 1 minute, but we can start making teams.
We could. Alan, I'm saying for the first game, let's just both be team captain, then we'll randomize.
Yo, add me, you have to
We
add
can
me,
all
yo.
agree to that.
But you two have to be on
Unless anyone
separate
else
teams
wants
every
to be.
time.
That's what I meant. We'll both be like team. I don't know about every.
Yeah,
I don't know about every
yeah,
time.
Okay.
Here, hold on. Super,
Request to join.
Yo,
It feels
No, I
weird,
say
though.
honestly,
can you?
I say put both of them on the same team, bro.
I don't think that the
Yeah,
I don't think the
okay.
skill disparity is that different between
Yeah, it's not.
I
Like,
also don't believe that.
Diamond
Yeah.
to
I say
and
put both of them
Grandmaster,
on the
bro.
same team, bro.
wait, what?
Alright.
I feel like
I
it's very
think you have to
situational.
I think you have to separate the silver guys more than you have to separate the GMs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Like it isn't like
Poopy
bro,
head.
it's, you can just shuffle it for vibes.
Yeah, just shuffle it for vibes, bro.
Okay, everyone has to join before we can shuffle, though.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
who
bad.
we waiting on?
So are
Alan?
we doing
Waiting
first
on-
game shuffle or first game draft?
Just shuffle it, brother.
Or shuffle.
How many are we? Do we have 10 or 12?
You have 12.
Wave 12.
Oh no, wait.
Yeah.
I mean, I just
like that.
Can someone invite me?
Be able to join a team before we can shuffle.
Okay.
Yo, can a man invite? I will join.
Just join, bro. It's on. Was it invite only?
It's invite only.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank
invite
you.
only.
Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
tried
yo,
joining them.
Big Poppy Trifa and
We're missing.
Sips join the team.
Alright, I'm on
teammate?
TV.
Moise is taking a shit right now.
We're waiting for
And then- Arjun?
Arjun. Oh, Arjun.
So
left the
Arjun
call.
and we?
Arjun's back.
Fine.
Okay.
There he is.
Arjun
That
and
was
Moise.
fast.
Arjun Moyes, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm joining. I mean, Muiz is in the washroom, so we could just add him on whatever team.
Yeah, he's not in the game.
So,
I
okay.
think.
He's not in the
We
lobby.
just
on the
gotta
lobby.
separate the bronzes and silvers. That's it. Just do that.
Yeah.
Like we'll shuffle and then we'll balance that way. One bronze on each
To
team,
be
one silver on each
fair,
team.
I'm not a silver in my opinion. I'm more of a bronze.
Yeah, bro.
More of
no,
a
bro,
bronze?
No,
That's
Adrian-
crazy.
Adrian doesn't
You're
know-
more of like a
Yeah.
gold diamond, bro.
Adrian-
Yeah, you're
Dye
more of a
platinum.
gold star.
Okay,
Gold
okay,
platinum,
okay, but like I haven't played in a minute, bro.
That's okay,
That's
bro.
not gonna matter, bro. That's
Yo, don't forget, you're on the winning team, bro. The first time.
Who's going Human Torch?
thing.
That's a good question. I probably Jatin most likely. If anybody's
I'll do
going
whatever
Human
the
Torch,
team
it's either Tanish or Jatin, bro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Human
Sabo
Torch.
Jin in the chat, bro.
Oh, is he coming?
Yo, no
he's,
way.
He's in my Twitch chat.
Are you streaming right now?
Yeah, okay, but why
You
is
can
he
do this
the
all
chat
day.
but not the game? Nah, that's
Yo,
pussy shit.
why is it so all here, bro?
I agree.
Why is it so all here, bro?
This PC can't run it.
He's
This
stuck in the
PC
smoke.
can't run
Yo,
it, bro.
Tennis, he's tuning in the stream, so if you have something to say to him, just say it, bro.
No, that's why I said it, bro. I'm asking him directly, bro. Why isn't he here, bro?
Yeah. I thought you could do this all day.
Crazy.
Crazy.
Is he responding in the chat? Probably not.
Nah, he hasn't said anything yet.
Yo, ask him. He said it's either grandmaster or a wife. Ask him if he found a wife, cause he, you know, like that boy did not hop on stream, bro. I know that for a fact, bro.
Yeah, bro. I think we know the answer to that question, man.
Oh,
Alright, let's get this bitch started. What we waiting on?
Moise is shit, bro.
Someone's pooping apparently.
Okay, so is Muiz gonna be? And then we're good.
Yeah, you cut out, but I think yes is the answer to your question.
Muiz is gonna be on Team B.
man.
No, we're shuffling after that.
No, we're still
We're shuffling.
shuffling. I mean, we can shuffle and then okay. The people that got to be separated are gonna be Muiz, Supri,
Yeah, I'm-
Shamar.
I'm
And
saying let's
Tanish?
shuffle right now. Just put Muiz as the last spot, and then
Yeah,
we can
same
make trades as
difference.
necessary.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this is so okay.
Trades? Oh wow.
Yeah, you guys.
Supri and Shamar gotta change, I think.
Shamar.
You
What do you
Justin?
mean?
Yeah.
There's two bronze and one silver.
Yo, y'all
on
don't know.
one team,
Shamar's
bro.
pretty elite, bro.
No, that team is. No, they got Muiz too. That team is so trash.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
I'm saying we need
need
one
some
of them.
trades.
They got
You start.
Okay, start.
Hey,
Who started the game, bro?
Amit, bro.
That's my fault. That's my fault.
Amit,
Oh
bro.
my god.
Misclick,
Bro.
Misclick, misclick. Just leave, just leave.
Bro, I'm gonna get a
This
penalty,
This
bro.
guy's trolling, bro. I'm gonna get a
Penalty
penalty.
is insane.
I like, yo, Supri. Yo, just get the match,
Yo.
bro. Let's fight it out, bro.
Let's do a draft.
What?
I'm
Huh?
gonna look at my
What?
missions now, bro.
Request
I
to
know.
join.
I'm gonna leave the game.
Okay, who am I joining?
Amit, I think.
Amit?
Are we sure we want Ahmed as host?
Whatever, give him one more
I
chance.
trust
bro.
Munir more.
I joined Andrew. I ain't gonna lie, I joined Andrew.
My bad, man.
These
Join who?
No,
guys are forming a new coalition. Joining Andrew.
That'd be funny. I thought it'd be funny.
Andrew
That'd be
sent bro an
funny.
invite by accident.
Andrew, bro, leave the game. This guy's-
Imagine.
Yeah, I just locked in, bro.
Yo, he is. What the hell? Yeah.
Wait, he's locked in or not locked in?
Okay.
No, I think okay. Draft
team
is probably
seems-
easier than
this
this
team
shit.
seems-
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, we gotta
let's
do a draft,
Let's
man.
just do a draft. Let's just
Draft
the
is easier,
sense
bro.
of the picks is also kind of fun. Let's just do a draft.
Wait. How's
Alright.
that? It's like,
Honestly, that
Alan
team's kind
took
of
the
fair.
team caps.
Alright, whatever. Yeah, Alan
Bro,
took
I
the team
really
caps.
don't-
Sure, I mean, I think
I
Amy
really-
could also be a team captain too.
This is
Yeah,
dead
this is-
ass like
yo,
a
Ahmed,
ball run
Ahmed,
right
just-
now. That's so funny.
No, what-
Alright.
Just take over.
Okay, at this point, Shamar and
Yeah, we'll start from the bottom up, bro.
Supri.
No, yeah.
Oh,
so-
Shamar
so-
should be
captain. Fuck a good
Yo,
player picking
Supri
team.
and Shamar haven't played any of us.
They also don't. Yeah, they don't know
Meaningfully.
anything about
Yeah,
our
Yeah,
play
I
style.
was
like
gonna
that.
say I don't think it'd be very accurate.
That's why we want you to
Man's
pick,
gonna get
bro.
mad at me for my picks. I'm gonna be like, I didn't know anything.
Okay.
No,
Amit
that's
and
that's
Jatin,
perfectly
maybe?
fine. No, I'm good with
Alright.
Super and
Yeah,
Someone
Shamar,
wanted
bro.
Grandmaster 3 is very.
I'm
Nah,
so
but
for Super and
Amit-
Okay,
Shamar, bro.
Amit and Justin, bro. Amit and Justin.
Amit and
Do Amit and
Justin.
Justin.
Right there.
Do Amit and
Alright.
Justin, bro, at this point.
All right,
Amit
join
gets first
spectator.
pick. It's gonna be Alan, and then Justin's gonna pick Andrew. Like, so let's just go from there.
Wait, what?
Yo, chill. I'm not a healer though.
Yeah, join the fucking
Amit-
spectators, bro.
So Amit gets first pick
Why does Amit get first pick?
Yeah, what the fuck?
because
He's a whole-
he's Diamond 1.
Oh, fair. No, he's right.
He's
Oh,
basically GM,
that's
though,
why.
GM 3. Or we'll coin toss it.
Coin toss it, he says, bro.
Is it that serious?
Why? Is there like some Wemby of the draft I don't know about amongst you guys?
Yeah, his name's Alan.
Yeah, his name is Big Poppy Tripa.
That was way funnier than it should have been, bro.
Bro, man. No,
I love you, bro.
Wait, so
it's okay, bro. It's okay.
It's Surfle and Amit then?
All right,
Yeah.
Justin. who you
Shut up,
think?
shut up. Let's pick.
Oh, actually,
Yo,
okay,
man.
Alan.
Okay, fine.
Am, you're not gonna say the picks?
He's just gonna drag them.
This guy's thinking, bro.
Yo,
Dragon.
I rate that.
This guy's playing chess.
All right, bro.
Andrew.
Yo, Loki so far is looking pretty balanced. I can't lie.
Yeah.
Bro, move yourself.
Move yourself. Your team captain ain't that accommodating, bro.
At the top right of the team
Can we
square.
stop
there's
stalling? We're doing a
join
draft,
button.
bro. Relax.
Am is cooking.
Remember, Moise is still an option.
Oh yeah, I just
Alright, let's go.
remember that.
Don't forget.
remember that.
Sleeper pick, yo.
Stiffy.
Good pick.
I'm not moving him.
Yo,
I'm not moving him. What you do it?
So it's Muiz, Tanish, Shamar,
Supri.
and Supri left.
Oh, me? Sick.
Give me a year, bro. Come on, man.
I'll go Supri.
Super nice, bro. Super's nice with it.
Oh,
Yo,
okay.
man.
Alright.
Yo, man. I know I'm last, bro.
No. This is Luis too.
You go DPS?
No, Luis.
Alright,
it's up to the team captain, I guess, bro.
Iron
Nah,
Fist.
yo, I mean, you'd have been mad funny if you Tanish to the other team, bro.
That would actually been a joke, bro.
So how long is Moise's shit gonna take, bro?
Yeah, bro, shit watching.
Bro.
Fam, at this,
Bro, we're like watching his poo, bro.
Bro, it's been like
for an update.
12 minutes,
Bro,
bro.
Poop date.
you guys go to the other Discord channel. We'll tell movies to go there.
Oh, okay.
What's the other?
That's
You ain't
Which
even
one do I
looking, bro.
choose?
So,
Let's
are we
separate into
doing
different
best of 3?
Yeah, let's do best of 3.
Comp?
Yo, but game mode,
Bands?
convoy?
It's just convoy and convergence. There's no
Okay.
domination.
No.
Okay.
You do not like Dom. That's crazy. I mean, yo, tiebreakers gonna be
Tiebreaker
Dom.
Dom.
Yeah,
Tiebreaker
tiebreaker
done,
done for
yes.
sure.
Okay.
Nah, fuck that. I'm choosing everything then. Domination's included.
What?
You're a
No,
bum,
just
bro.
do tiebreaker Dom. Just do tiebreaker Dom,
Yeah.
bro.
I do now. Okay, fuck. I hate
Because
this game.
that way,
Oops.
that's the last, bro. You don't want to
Elo
do
gap
Dom.
is killing me. Follow
Yo,
me,
team
bro.
B,
I
yo,
don't think that shit works, bro.
Team B, join interrogation room 2.
I just
Alright.
Yeah.
Alright, going to interrogation room 2, but like, what about Moise?
He'll join, we'll tell him.
We'll tell him.
I'll move, honestly, I'll move him.
But
Like, I fully expect him. Wait, oh, Moose left. He
No, I
him,
moved
okay.
him. Wait, no, he left.
I sent him an invite
No.
on the game,
Is he?
so
Is he on the game, man?
he's on the game. I sent him an
Okay,
invite.
guys.
I think he's still loading up, probably.
I picked this team.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Wait.
I just still here?
Yo, Manir, you gotta move, bro.
What?
No,
Who's on our
hold on.
team, bro?
No,
Who's on
who's there? No, my, I'm so sorry.
Ajit, no?
Someone's still here. Someone's still
It's
here.
Ajit. It's Ajit.
Ajit.
Yo.
Sajid.
Yo,
You have
change
to go
the
see the other
other
thing.
team.
Versus moving.
Team A?
Team B.
I moved.
Okay.
Thank you. Alright, like I was saying, guys, I
Yeah.
picked this team because I believe in synergy over rank,
Okay.
and I think
Okay.
that us put together are the best squad.
I agree.
Alright?
I believe
I
in it.
I don't know if me being here helps that.
No.
So who are roles?
No. You
So
part of it, bro.
what are the
You part of
roles,
it.
bro?
We have more synergy with you. Alright,
Oh,
yeah,
bet.
that's what
Bet.
we're figuring out now.
Okay.
I my personal opinion, I think Surfel is definitely the best healer here.
Okay.
I'm the best
Okay.
DPS here.
Yeah.
Arjun can play tank or
Yo,
healer.
I need to be my.
Arjun's on tank. Shamar, can you play healer?
Yeah, I don't mind playing healer.
But who do you
Okay.
play?
I play like I'm an invisible woman. That's my main.
Bad. That's
Okay,
perfect. That's perfect.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Tanish.
So,
Ayo. Yeah.
Tanish, do you want to be DPS or tank?
I'll be
Who do you
Give-
play?
give him
who-
DPS.
Who do you have the
He
most?
only plays
who do you have the
DPSs.
most-
I mean,
Punisher,
it's
bro.
either Iron Man
It's
or
Punisher,
Punisher,
right?
bro. But yo,
Okay,
low
bet.
key, I feel like
Let's start. Yeah.
here's the thing, bro. Iron Man, I have more of an aerial advantage, so I can be like more up in the air and provide more like,
Let's
shoot
do
from
it.
above and
Let's
help.
go based off. Let's go based off map. Let's go based off map. The maps that we
Okay,
think
bet.
are better
Minir,
for Iron
Minir.
Man,
Mm-hmm.
run Iron Man.
What's
Nah,
up?
nah,
You gotta be tank.
Manir, you still Squirrel Gun, man?
Squirrel main? Squirrel secondary.
Who's your man?
Thor. But I can play
Oh,
a variety.
yeah,
I can play a
yeah,
variety.
balance.
I can play
Okay,
a variety
yo.
of characters. I can play
No,
Invisible
yo,
Woman. I can play
don't make
Namor.
me
I can
go
play.
I
Yo,
like
and then
that.
yo, you play Storm. Yo, you play Storm. We're Eden, bro.
Yo, we need an anti-dive.
Yo,
Because
low-key,
Alan's
Minir,
definitely gonna play Thor.
Minir. Yo,
So we'll
low-key,
get no.
low-key.
Tanish is playing
Yo.
Punisher. We're good, bro.
No. Yo, Manir, do you want to run? Me doing Johnny Storm, and then you run like Storm.
No. Emmett's gonna play Storm.
If Amy plays Storm, I'll play Thor.
Yo,
Other one, join the other one.
You're the other team.
bro, you're
Just
on the team.
because me and Manir have
Nah,
ran like
this-
our fucking specials at the same time type shit, and it's like it's
No,
done.
no.
Yeah,
You'll do it
uh,
with Emmett though, not me.
Type shit.
Okay, I mean, it's pretty much your call. Whatever you want me to do.
If you play
Yeah,
Johnny
I'm down to
Storm.
try that, but let's have fun with it. Bro. I'm down to try that.
I think it makes sense because if
Alright,
you're Johnny Storm, Shamar's Invisible Woman, and then if you're Johnny Storm, Emmett's Storm, and then if Emmett's Storm, I'm Thor.
Yeah, we have team ups, bro. We have team ups.
Yeah, that's a sick team up still.
17
we can
minutes
run
of
that,
stalling,
we can
bro.
run
All right, let's run it. Let's run it.
Okay, yo, hear me out. If we have problems with their dives, I think Sorrowfell should play Penny.
That.
And then you're gonna be out of Morlock.
And then I'll switch to like Jeff or another healer or some shit. Like we can make some match.
Yo,
I
but
like this
will
team.
say-
This comp is
Alright.
nice.
I like this comp.
I will
Solid.
say, we gotta watch out for Agile. bro.
Whoever has
In
more
the
console
air, bro,
players
Ad-
loses, so the other team, bro.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yo.
If Thurlo's terrorizing the Flyers, I'm switching off with Storm.
Okay.
Yeah, if
I think
Starlord
Namor-
starts
I think
terrorizing,
Namor-
I'll go to Punisher.
I can play Namor. I can play Namor.
Who's good against Star-Lord though?
Namor.
I think Namor because the more squids are gonna kind of throw him off.
It is
Oh.
Namor. It's definitely Namor.
This company looks insane. Yeah, we're gonna cook them, bro.
Should I play Namor? Do I
Let's go.
Alright,
No. Let's just try this. Let's try this.
Yeah, let's try this. Okay. I like this.
Alright.
Munir's more of a diver than I'm gonna be like mid.
Okay, this is a good map to like run all this too. Yeah, yo, we got some good shit going on here. Bro.
So a damage boost. Yeah, this gonna be fun still.
Yeah, let me know when you
Yeah,
put a
man.
bubble down so I can like actually look for it instead of just like running away blindly. Surfall.
Yeah, I'm gonna point at the objective more times.
Okay.
Okay, I'm blocking the point from
Like,
moving around.
Yeah, I just missed that.
Let me lock in, bro.
I'll put the Iron Fist.
Oh. Yo, I see Agile. Yo, I need
Here's
help.
Asmonir. Here's Asmonir.
Yeah, you got back up. You got back up. Nobody's here. Pushing up on
I need
moves.
help with Agile.
Okay, one of their tanks is super.
Okay. Moose is low. Okay, they go back.
Agit's healing in the
Yeah,
room.
Supre's
Hey,
Penny
hey,
Parker.
Oh, fuck Iron.
Yo, Iron Fist, Iron Fist, Iron Fist.
Fuck, bro. Yeah, I got fucked still.
Oh shit, I'm dead.
No, you're too far. You're too far.
You're on your ones, bro.
Yeah, I did not know
Yo,
you
should
got
I
walked
not
down.
fly too high when I'm should I not fly too high? Like healers?
Oh, don't.
Let me remember.
No,
how to
you're
play
doing
this
your
game real
best, bro.
quick.
Thank you, sir. Well, that means a lot.
Alan's going for healer. Alan's going for healer. Peel, peel, peel.
I'm coming back.
Hey, heals,
right now.
heals. Best what?
When Penny against your friends makes you a pedophile, not gonna lie. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh god. Oh god.
Alan's awesome. Okay,
Alan's
watch out for that.
I'm dead.
Moise is one,
I don't
Moise
want
is
luck. I don't
one.
want luck on me. I don't want luck on me.
Oh, alt.
Oh shit! Fuck!
Going for Andrew. Going for Andrew.
Yo, Justin took Storm's ult and fucked me up.
Yeah, they don't know I'm behind them, not gonna lie.
I'm back. I'm back. I'm back.
Oh fuck. Yo, I can kill.
Oh, yo, get out of there, get out of there, get out of there.
Yeah, I'm cooked.
I think we need him more. Double dive.
Is everyone dead?
Yeah, Iron Fist,
Yeah,
Iron
I'm
Fist,
back right
and
I think we need him more.
It's okay. I just,
Okay,
use,
so
this, I just use this whole ult on just me.
Go,
so.
go Punisher. Go Punisher, Tanish.
Punisher? Oh, bro, I already left. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
next time I die. Next time I die.
yo, if you go to the point, if you're close to the point.
Okay, yo, I'm doing it low key. I'm like, where I'm at right now. I'm able to
I just find us.
still.
Oh, I
Oh
fell.
fuck. Yo, low
He's
key,
dead
I'm
already.
I'm ulting. I'm ulting.
Okay.
Get his ass, get his ass. I was dead, I was dead.
Okay, they kill me. I'm gonna come back. And...
Oh, he fucking blocked my ult. Oh, that's okay. Hit his ass anyways, bro.
Yeah,
Yo,
we're
things
getting
behind
hit.
me.
Come up a little bit. Oh, never mind.
It's just
I
I
just
just.
stopped playing.
He's weak. He's weak.
He's running.
You got it. Bubble.
Bro, when do I get a bubble?
Oh,
What?
God, bro. Alright, I'm just gonna revive off the Adam Warlock.
I'm following.
Behind me. I just behind me.
Got him.
Yo, Al's literally in a back line.
He's
Got
dead.
him.
Hey, Iron Fist is solo to me! Ah! He got me. Oh,
I'm
sorry.
ulting on Penny Parker's thing. Alright, Ness is gone. I have to run back. Bro.
Okay, yo.
Yeah, I have ult.
I vault.
Okay, I just used mine.
4 minutes. We're good here.
I communicate the ults unless you feel like you absolutely need to.
Back up, back up.
Yeah, I got my ult now.
They're gonna wait for an ult.
Oh.
Are you holding ult for next game? Nah, bro. Come on, guys.
Oh fuck. Oh fuck.
Oh,
I
yo,
fucked up.
yo, are we only?
Back up. Back up. Back up. Back up. Back up. Back up. Oh my god.
Okay.
I'm using it.
Okay. Oh,
Yo, I need help with Alan. I need help with Alan.
I'm getting
One
destroyed
side.
by Adject right now.
I'm dead.
I'm about to die.
I just a nuisance, bro.
Yeah, I think they won that fight.
I'm back.
Okay.
I'm dead. Oh my
I
god.
can't
Who
help
got
you
me?
with that, Alan. Oh, they're all back. That's crazy.
That's the whole point. We're all, most of us are alive right now.
Guys.
Yo, you got ult, Shamar.
No, I
Ah, just ulting.
Watch out. Shamar, watch out.
for Adject.
Alan's dead.
You got me again. I just fucking rinsed us still, bro.
Oh, he's still. Oh, okay. My fault. I was not paying attention to that at all. AMIT is playing like the Austrian painter right now. Yo, I don't know what you mean by that, bro.
What the hell?
I don't know what you mean by that, bro. Sorry.
They call me Hitler, but
I don't know what you mean by that, bro.
Yo, get Edge, he's weak.
don't
He
read
healed, he got
comments, 'cause he's gonna rage bait the shit out
You got
of
healed.
What are you talking about?
me. Don't read
Yo,
4
this-
minutes, guys.
Bro, they got 4 minutes.
No, walk in.
We're not on offense after either. I think it's just
Yo,
defense.
okay, yo, Tennis, stay behind us, yo.
No, it's not.
Bet.
Stay behind us.
Oh yeah, I'll stay behind and I'll start turning.
Yeah, exactly.
Edge at the top.
Oh,
Down on me?
Supreme's won. Oh, never mind. You got the health back.
Oh, damn.
Okay. Guys, I'm gonna turn like right here.
Hey, heals. Appreciate you. Yeah, good turn.
Good kill. At the end.
Get his ass in here. Get his ass in here.
I got him in the corner, but he's getting.
Go
beat by
crazy,
Justin.
Tandish. Go crazy, Tandish.
Going for it, going for it. Oh, he got a heal, he got a heal. Yo, I got ult.
Go for it. Go for it.
What am I all?
I got you, Bobo.
Get bodies, bro. This is the time. Get bodies.
Oh, fuck.
I dragged
Kill that,
Super
kill that.
down.
Iron Fist is one. Iron Fist is one.
Yeah, Loki. Their
Tandish,
healers haven't died
Tandish,
once.
get me.
Fuck it.
One second.
I punched him back.
Go.
Watch that.
One for Alan, trying to weaken Alan.
Got you.
Yeah.
Yo,
I
Iron
missed.
behind us, yo.
Come back.
Hey, behind us?
Yeah.
Someone's behind us. Iron Fist.
Oh, fuck.
Drop my ult.
Nice.
Kill him.
Good ult. Good ult. I'm walking Alan down. I'm walking him down. I walked him down.
Oh, fuck. Watch your Gadget. Fuck, Gadget got me.
Oh my god, how does he know where I'm at? Fuck.
Hey, they got bear picks. They got bear
Yeah,
picks.
no, I should have tried going for Agile. I really cannot get him, bro.
Returning.
Fuck.
We saved a lot of time.
Returning.
Yo, their healers. Okay, Justin died once, but Adam Warlock is yet to die.
Okay, yo, I'm staying behind. Yo, about a turret.
Kill him.
We's dead. Alright, should I ult? I'm ulting. I feel it.
Alt. Yeah. Good time ult. Guys.
Yeah.
Agit.
Iron Fist is pushing.
We're getting. Agit's bothering us here, bro.
Tash, the first player to make DPS look balanced. Alright, bro. Amazing heals just now. I don't know what happened, but I lived.
I use my ult.
Okay. I can't help you with that.
Oh, bro.
But fuck.
Alan's right here, guys.
Alan got me again, bro. I'm dying too much.
I got you.
1 minute, guys. We can hold here. Play your life.
Oh, I'm dead, I'm dead.
Back up. Play your life.
Okay, I have ult, but Penny Parker and Iron Fist are back. I think Adam Warlock revived himself from the cocoon. somehow.
Oh shit, yo, I'm getting fucked by like every angle.
All right here.
Oh,
Perfect.
Oh, fuck.
Oh,
He's
fucking
soul bound.
Penny's behind us.
Yeah, we gotta get Gadget.
Hey, get that.
Oh my fucking god, bro. I literally cannot hit him, bro.
I got ult.
I'm dead.
Alright guys, do we want to keep these?
I got rinsed,
Bro,
bro.
did you make it competitive mode?
No, it's not competitive, so we're gonna stick to competitive.
Okay.
That's not competitive?
Yeah, that's the last one. We don't get offense.
That's why AMIT shouldn't have been.
Why don't you switch to competitive, bro?
I forgot to. That's my bad.
This guy's a chump, bro.
Ah, so that was practice.
Yeah, it's
Calm.
practice. It's practice.
Yeah, we talking about.
Is it a effort?
Let's make this. Let's make it competitive now.
We're calling this Mickey Mouse? I guess so, bro.
Alright. It's always something.
It's always something.
I was a team merchant before. So, you know, it's always something.
Yo, so 2 more games, eh?
Nah,
No, that game didn't count.
This one was Mickey
That game
Mouse.
didn't count. No, that game didn't count because it was competitive. It wasn't competitive. It was quick match. I forgot to switch
Yeah.
competitive.
the game didn't count because what does that matter?
It means we didn't get
back
a.
shots,
yeah.
back shots.
This guy said back shots. Whoa.
My fault.
What is that aggro, bro? Hey, yo.
I got pretty amped up over the win. I apologize.
Can AMIT carry a team if it isn't against AI and quick play? Yo, that's a great question.
That was Mickey.
They're questioning Amit's legacy? Damn, that's crazy.
Because Hall's rage.
Shamar, bro. Appreciate the like on the tweet, bro.
Oh, yeah, anytime.
Hey, yo, that guy like.
Alright, back to the discords.
Yeah.
Back?
Alright, lads.
Okay.
We will.
Back shots.
Back shot.
The right heroes could make all the
Yo, I say, I ain't gonna lie. I say fuck no more. You just play fucking thing.
Adjit. Yo, Adjit.
Yeah, Magic.
Go. No, I'm saying Adjit Shamar. You need to go on the other team.
Shamar's on our team, bro.
Shamar's on our
Shamar,
team,
stay.
bro.
Oh, we changed it up. We changed it up.
No, he's been here.
Bro, I was on the team.
Oh, bro. I ain't hear you say nothing, bro. My fault, bro.
Okay, I like
He's locked
Amit
in.
as
He's locked in, bro. Amit just goes Johnny Storm.
Cause
at least.
yeah, they need.
Who should I play? Punisher?
Try Iron Man.
I'll come in as on.
I think this is better. This is a good Iron Man map.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Oh,
hopefully
Mr.
this is better.
Fantastic,
But
yo.
I just still gonna be annoying. But like, yeah, do your thing, fam.
I think it'll be easier to manage with Iron Man still.
I think you just need to put more pressure on their healers, bro. I think that's
Okay.
ultimately what it is.
Okay,
So
you know
Hall's
what?
rage
I'll
baiting in
let-
the chat, bro. It's going crazy, man.
Yo, Munir, I'll let you
don't
play
leave
it
me
forward a
there.
little bit more. I'll try to peel a bit. It's gonna be
Yeah,
hard
I'll
to
be
get
more in the
picked.
background.
It's gonna be. I cannot get picks on Star-Lord
I think you
though.
need to play a bit safer. I think you're diving too
No,
hard.
no.
Okay, should I stay more back? I'm trying to just.
Yeah, if you're okay, yeah, you're Iron Man now. But just know we can't heal you that well.
Okay,
in the sky, I just in the
bait
sky
Allen
already.
over here, bro. I'm gonna knock him back.
Just like, bro, like,
I'm gonna take the health pack. I'm gonna run away. He's gonna be like, yo, why is this guy baiting me? Now he's all the way over here. That's what we call a play, bro.
Oh my god, bro. I'm already dead, bro.
Why are you dead? Who killed you, bro?
Bro,
Tash, you can't be
someone
down that early. I gotta keep the book.
Bro,
Went
sure,
from
bro.
0 dice to full die. Yo, add this,
Adjit's
bro.
behind us. Adjit's behind us.
And Muiz,
Yo,
they're both here, bro.
Oh, Iron Fist.
I have to stay too. Fuck me, bro.
Iron Fist is dead.
I'm cooked.
My fault, I want to beat.
Al's one.
Yes,
Al's
Tandish.
one.
Yes, Tandish, turn up.
Muiz is behind you. Muiz is behind you.
Muiz is about to
Iron Fist is low.
die.
Iron Fist is low.
Muiz, oh, he got healed.
Hey, heals, heals.
Soul
Coming
bound.
back, I'm coming back.
Once his soul bound's over, I'm ulting on him. If I live.
Oh, bro.
Oh, I fucking Loki shit, bro. Yeah, they're cycling their heals way too good.
Okay, I'm gonna stay lower as Iron Man, but I'm gonna use the unity thing. I'll apply pressure like that.
Okay. Fuck. I'm dead, by the way.
Play aggressive, play aggressive. I just ulted on point.
Okay, good move. Stand off.
Adjit.
You wasted it.
Can Amit
I'm
die
dead.
with you? I don't know, bro.
I'm respawning right now. I'm coming
I think he's
right now.
helping the backline, not gonna lie.
Oh, all you guys died?
Oh. Oh, that's not good.
Okay, we got Adjit.
Adjit's ult is fucking ridiculous, bro.
I'm coming up with y'all.
Okay, they haven't got a checkpoint yet. We can hold them a little bit.
We're doing better. We're doing a lot better this time for sure. There's no one here?
Hey, yo, Tash, try to play behind cover a little more, bro. Like,
Tandish,
like,
you're gonna have to like.
Playing your life is more important than getting picks. Like, so if needed, play it safe.
I just killed Alan.
Wait, hold on. I'm trying to keep them from getting checkpoints, but I'm here.
Oh, yo,
Me too,
Adjit's
me
here. Adjit's
too.
in the back. Adjit's in the back.
I've been back.
Oh, fuck.
Yo, ping him.
How do I ping?
Down. Drop my ult.
Alright, Andrew's dead. I'm getting Penny's nest.
Adjit's low.
Yeah, Ness is gone.
Hold this.
Okay. Tickle monster's coming.
Which one, bro?
Fucking
Penny Parker or Iron Fist?
Yes,
Oh,
Adjit's
Adjit.
dead.
I'm ulting on him.
Heals.
Get on the bubble. There's a bubble on the thing.
Yeah, got you.
I stun like that. Alan. Alright. Nice.
Yeah, let's go.
I
Let's go, Emmett.
Good cleanups, good cleanups.
Oh, ultimate, you're paying
Super
me.
slow, super slow. Oh, I fucking break that.
Oh, he
he's in the corner, he's in the corner.
Nah, Super's dead.
He's gonna get res, he's gonna get res.
Oh, attitude. Oh, man.
Action's low, action's bad, low,
Alan's
action's
here.
bad.
Yo, I need help. I need heals.
Oh, fuck. Justin took gadget ult, Justin took gadget ult.
Get inside. No way this guy followed me, bro.
Oh, I fucking missed it.
Yo.
Is anyone here? I'm on the point by myself.
Yo,
Sorry, I'm here. I was fighting Alan off point, bro. My fault. I'm gonna die here. I'm dead here.
Good shit, Tench.
Thank you.
Holy ult cycle, bro.
You're Tench,
bro.
Yeah, they got
Yeah.
it.
Tench,
They
you.
got
Oh
it.
no, man, you're dead. I was about to say you can use your ult to stop them from. You can jump from.
I'm gonna switch the boxes.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, like y'all tell. I mean, I guess.
Arjun, back up.
Yeah. I got you.
You're doing fine.
Silas, you're doing fine, bro.
Bro, Ag is actually fucking annoying as shit right now, bro.
No, that's what I was telling you.
That the Star Lord. It's the Star Lord ult, bro. To get out of jail.
Justin keeps taking it too.
No, I'll try to deal with it.
They cycle the ults with Justin.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
Yeah, it's not just Aegis every time. Oh fuck, I got cut.
Yeah, be careful.
You're not. You're not like in a like sideline, bro.
Yeah, my fault.
Alan's weak. Oh, you got it.
Fuck, Action's on me, Action's on me.
Oh my god.
Oh,
I'm one shot, bro. I can't. That little thing is so annoying, fam.
I just won. Please, somebody hit him. Oh my god. Oh, he got his health back. Alright, now everybody's on me. Yeah, it's over, bro.
Oh my god, bro.
No, okay, yeah, Minir, you gotta back up still.
I'm right here, bro. I haven't moved. There's people here before. Where did you go? Alright.
Get his ass in here.
Behind us. I just behind us.
Come.
Bro, please, someone get active, bro.
Yo, he's weak. He's so weak. Yo, Tench. Get him. He's so weak. Bro. On your left. I'll get.
Oh, that's right.
Fuck is Alan forward?
I'm in a one-on-one with
You
Alan.
die?
I'm in a one-on-one with Alan. I pinged him.
Oh my. Yo, you can't follow them off point every time, bro.
Yo, he pushed me there, bro.
Hey, don't chase him, bro.
Alright,
Yo, Action saw me. Kill that. Oh, Alan's on
I'm
me.
gonna log in to report AMIT because this is unacceptable even by his standards.
Watch out for Action.
Yo, I think Action just revived, bro.
They hit a checkpoint.
Fuck me, man.
AMIT, please, bro.
Better stop that vehicle.
I'm about to get raped in this corner.
Yo, shit. Let me pull up.
Pussy.
Genuinely, bro.
Yo, Minir, get back here, bro.
Alright, bro. Fine.
Yo, I'm selling it.
Yo,
Yeah, we know you're selling, bro.
One tank. Let me know.
No, go 3 healer at this point, fam.
Bro, I got you. I found you.
Good shit.
Yo, Super right here.
Thank you.
I just need somebody's help when I'm walking them down, please. God,
Action's
Lord.
behind us.
I'm telling you guys, bro, Agit is the biggest hindrance, bro.
I killed him.
What's happening is he's waiting for you to go in, and then he goes in on the back line.
Alright, guys, I'm running back to everybody now.
Oh, Emmett's third healer. But
Alan's on point.
He's backing off, I got
back to
you.
his healers.
okay, 30 seconds. We're not doing bad.
Healers
I'm
are-
with you, I'm with you, Minir.
Alright.
I need help.
I'm trying to
I just on point.
I'm almost there.
Luis is
Hold on.
dead.
Alright, I'm on point.
That's your free.
I'm
Good shit.
chasing.
Nice.
Yeah, yo, they're staggering. Done.
I just coming back.
I just on point.
I'm body blocking Alan off point right now.
Shit.
Alright.
I got ults. I got ults. I have ults.
Okay.
Nice. Okay,
I think the spawn door was definitely a
we still
choice.
gotta play on
Yo.
offense now.
Yeah, but they didn't leave spawn because of it, bro. Don't question my methods. Maybe by myself it was a different outcome, but you know, it worked.
Okay.
My team doesn't even know what I did, bro.
Yo, Manir, you turned up at the getting bear picks.
Can I try being DPS?
Sure.
Or should we stick to this?
If we got 2 healers, what DPS? I think it makes sense.
I'll go Moon Knight or something. Moon Knight or no more, either one.
Should I say Iron Man or Punisher?
I like both of them.
Yo,
Wait. Can you do Scarlet Witch?
Let me try Moon Knight. Let me try Moon Knight off rip. Let me try Moon Knight just. Like,
Honk merchant.
You're not feeling Scarlet Witch?
I'm not feeling Scarlet Witch at all, to be honest.
Emmett's gonna get more kills as a healer than he is as a DPS, bro.
Bro.
Emmett's gonna turn up now. Emmett's gonna turn up. Emmett's gonna turn up now. Don't worry.
Should I stay as Iron Man? Should I stay as Iron Man?
Yeah, do it. You're doing good.
Do whatever you want, bro. Honestly,
turn up Tanish.
as long as you're doing damage, is fine. It doesn't matter where you're doing it from.
Yeah, Tanish, I saw you in the second half, bro. I think you do pretty decent.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, just keep playing the angles and shit. And yo, Tanish, when you press triangle, Emma, I don't know if you realize that.
Yeah, I know my Unibeam is stronger. Yeah, that's what I usually do.
Yeah, Unibeam is stronger, and also like if you use like the RT trigger.
Yo, penny mines.
No, there's no penny mines.
Watch out, bro.
This
Okay. This guy's not serious, bro.
Try not to chase Isaac around. Like once he starts running away, just let him go.
I just low. He's in the sky, right above us. Thank you.
Got him?
He's back. I'm dead. Holy.
Yo, he can't get heals in there. Get his ass. Get his ass.
Bro?
He's one.
Got Movies, I got Movies.
Get Alan.
What the fuck?
I'm trying.
Yo, how do you get out of that?
Damn.
I'm cheese. I can't lie. Yo, ping him, Tanish.
Okay, no.
But yo, if possible, ping him. So rather than have
I'm already at 50%. I'm gonna get some out really quickly, so.
Yeah, me too.
Solid.
Yeah,
I just died.
Nice.
Oh, I might get raped here. Coming back.
Yeah, okay, we got him.
Door's up there, Henny. Watch out.
Wait.
One sec.
Alright. Oh, damn. Their Penny Parker actually doing work.
Oh, he's dead.
I got Alan.
Oh,
I need someone to take the nest out for me,
Iron Fist, bro. Iron Fist.
so I can push out.
He's low.
Dead.
Where's the nest? Can you ping it?
This gameplay. I don't know where it is. I think it's on the right side.
Yeah, I think it's inside the crib.
Yeah, I think it's like it's in this corner.
I'm getting bodies, bro.
Good shit. I'm looking for
He's chasing me.
I got the nest.
Penny's
I got the nest.
Good shit.
Are you good?
Nah, he's good.
Oh, yo, I need heals. Respect.
Oh my god.
Hey, when you need heals.
I'm low.
I'm back. The healers are backed up still.
Good shit, Tanish.
We're good.
Yeah. Oh, about to get each other. Oh, God.
The war is such a non-flash character to this gameplay. Yeah, it really is, bro. Oh, Bumbo Rasta Pussy Clot.
Be careful, guys.
No, good heals.
I dropped my ult. Oh, I didn't.
Starlord ulted.
Come out.
Alright, I don't know why I thought I was doing with that, bro. Who just left the game? Or left the call?
AMIT.
Amit, don't focus.
I just behind us.
Yo, is Amit still in the game or is it this Discord glitch?
Nah, he's still playing.
Okay, bet.
Alright.
Just locked in, bro.
Starlord's still behind us, by the way.
Yeah.
Good combo.
Just
We're
keep-
moving convoy.
Just keep him back there.
Fuck. I just still after me, bro. Fuck.
No, keep him busy.
You busy?
Yo,
Yeah, bet.
Yeah.
Iron Fist on you, Manir.
Oh, fuck.
Bro,
Yo,
I know, bro.
Yo, we
Oh, fuck this guy, bro.
Oh,
Alright.
Tickle Monster's back. Oh, Alan's back.
Oh, he stole my heals.
How did our enemy Starlord, bro?
Oh,
Penny's dead.
Lord help me.
Yo, Stiffling's one.
He got the heals off. Oh, he's low.
Oh, yo, get that.
Nice.
Got Alan.
He's gonna get revived.
Oh, fuck.
Good shit, guys.
Behind us?
Okay.
He's ulted on. Alright.
I just behind us.
I just behind us like he's a fucking magic main, bro. What's going on?
Oh, yo, they got. Oh, wait, we got checkpoint. Bet.
Oh.
They saying Amit left the voice call and we started winning, bro. What's going on?
Who's they, bro? Sorry, Saul.
Oh, fuck. Oh, shit, okay.
Oh, fuck these
Bro,
low
Ash is behind
people.
it. Ash is behind us.
Yo, Munir, we're
Oh
watching
my
right
God.
now, bro.
Ash is dead.
Oh, he got the res. Yo, he's resting himself.
I have ult again.
I think I have all two, yeah. No, we're good.
Alan popped his. Movies is probably gonna have his soon too. He's raping me
yeah,
actually.
you gotta pick him dead, I'm dead.
Oh my God.
Nah, Movies got me.
Okay,
He's
our
stuck to me.
spawn's right here.
Alright,
Let's get
just
a
wait
spawn.
that out, wait that out.
Yeah. Come spawn.
Okay, AMIT ulted on that, but he really didn't need to. Alright, Iron Fist dead.
How's the
Penny Parker and Nest on the right
push
side.
it.
Right there. Can you break that? I don't have range.
It's gone.
Alright. Penny's dead.
I stopped my ult. Amit, you have to back up, bro. Amit's playing DPS healer,
Yeah,
bro.
I'm
Yo,
playing
you can move
DPS
quite
here.
faster, Ronnie.
There's some
Yeah.
heals real quick.
I'm ulting on them.
I'm right in front of you. Yeah, Emmett, man. Emmett was playing way too close.
Oh, there you are. My bad.
No, Amit's playing way too aggressive, bro.
I agree.
Yo, fuck. Ash is gonna get me. Ash is
Hey,
gonna get me.
punish up top.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Yo,
Oh,
help our team. We gotta help our team. We gotta help our
Bro,
team. We
no,
gotta
it's
help our
on God, it's Amit, bro. Amit's selling, bro.
team. Yeah, we know it's AMIT, bro. That's why he left the call, bro.
Yo.
Bro's trying to lock in or something. Yeah, Punisher setup.
Yeah, got at you.
Movies, bro.
Are they together? I got my ult, by the way.
I'm
Yo, I need-
about to die.
I need heals.
Oh my
He's
God.
back.
I'm dead. Yeah, Alan got me.
Yo, fuck, I'm about to die.
Yeah, I'm gonna play back a little bit.
Rappy Tappy's cooking. Never mind.
I only got movies, bro.
I just
Did
heard
they
you doing
nerf
great.
this
now.
ult, bro?
Yeah, they did.
Wait, which all? Moon Knight?
Yeah, this is. It didn't like use.
It's slower, but it does more damage. That's all they did to it. Alan's dead.
Alan's dead again. Good shit in here.
I'm backing up. Justin switched to
They have a
Luna.
Luna?
Justin switched.
there's fire
Justin
with
switched characters.
It's probably in a bit.
Yeah, we're kind of close to the next checkpoint. We got more time than they did, I think. I'm walking Weeze down.
I'm getting the
Nice.
Nest. Nest is gone.
I'm helping
That's fine. Let them get their ults off here. Let them get their ults off here. We literally.
Luna just wasted ult, and we just got checkpoint, so it doesn't even matter. Absolutely useless.
Dog, we're all eating right now, bro.
I'm gonna get Penny Parker out of here. Never mind. Oh, he ulted on me, bro. Alright.
Get his ass. Get his ass. Yo, get his ass. He's weak. Fuck me.
Fuck. I'm saying, yo, he's shifty, bro. You can't like.
Yeah. It's all good. Our spawn's gonna be right here.
Oh, I braked it. Oh, I braked it.
By the way, I'm holding my ult.
I'm back. I have my ult too.
Yeah, Emmett, you're playing a little too aggressive.
My fault, okay.
Fuck.
Like, we only have 2 healers, bro. You're one of our only 2 healers.
Okay,
Yeah.
Penny's pick. Let's go.
Did I just?
I'm with you, Surfo. Let's get his ass.
I just won.
I'm about to die, still.
Oh, I actually got healed.
Okay. We
Yeah, I
got
got movies,
Yo, Surf on these heals. I need heals.
Yeah, I got you guys.
I just came back.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, yeah, we're right here. We actually got this shit. I got my ult still.
I still have my ult too.
Yeah, I have my ult too still.
I just revived him right in front of us. He's dead.
Yo.
I think Justin might have ult.
Oh, fuck, maximum bonus.
Dropping my ult right here, yo.
Andrew's
Luna's
dead.
one. Nice.
Yo, Adjut's carrying their team, eh? He's got like 30.
I just always carrying the
already died,
team,
my
bro.
boy.
Let's
You know, last time
go.
we said the edge of the Let's go. Good dubs.
Good shit,
Fuck
guys.
yeah, bro. Fuck yeah. Good
I'm
shit.
taking
Yo,
about to ass the super right now,
Holy
yo.
Thor gap.
Where's Super at?
when you're locked in, bro,
Thor
yo,
gap.
not a single weak link, bro. Fuck. Good shit.
Hey.
Whole team solid, yo.
Win, bro.
I can confirm I'm solid. What?
Bro, that was word. Let's go.
Bro, no matter how much
I think I did good as DPS.
No matter how much
You did good.
damage
Yeah,
you did good. You did good.
Back shots, bro. What happened to back
Like last time, you guys put up a good fight. And
Bro, the 3 healer combo was really good.
Back
shots?
shots. Back shots.
Surfa was the MVP. Yeah, Surfa was the MVP, bro.
First one was Mickey Mouse.
Talk to him.
Talk to him.
Talk to a podcast.
Me now on if she got a
Instagram. Yeah, yo, Stiffling, bro, you're a problem, bro. 21 final hits. Oh man.
What happened to that?
No, we'll keep going.
We'll keep going.
Fucking yeah, let's keep going. Keep going.
Alright, game 2, let's go.
I can play with
So,
them.
is last one winner takes all?
Yeah, let's do that.
On domination.
Last goal wins. Yeah, last goal wins.
Wait,
Last goal
what?
wins. Last goal wins.
Are we doing convergence? Yeah, I think convergence is only right given the first game.
Convergence?
So do you want to stick to the same thing?
We can switch it up.
Should I? I'm sticking as Iron Man or what?
Anybody want to play?
If you want, do what you want.
Surfa, you want to play Penny?
I'm fucking with Iron Man.
Are we defending? What if I go? What if I go this guy, bro?
Oh.
Not even
Ted-
bro.
Alright,
Oh shit!
let me put Mantis then.
Wait, hold on. Why the fuck am I? Are we running 3 tags? I can switch.
You want to play healer?
Yo.
Actually, no. Save this for offense. Let's save this for offense. No. I'm gonna play Penny. I'm gonna play Penny.
We're gonna be so hard to kill.
I'm the only
I'm
human.
gonna play.
No. Oh wait. Someone switch?
When you're
Oh yeah, so you want me to switch back?
here.
Okay.
Gee, fine. I'll play Hulk if niggas is thinking like this.
No, we can defend it. Yo, Tanish, you know the team up with Hulk, right?
Nah, what is it?
Okay, when you press triangle and you press R1, like your unibeam, right? It absolutely like you'll be able to kill like squishies
What is this, cancer
in like a
comp?
second.
Come on, bro.
Oh, okay, so last one.
Yeah, so use it sparingly. Oh yeah, you can use it there. It's all good. Use it there.
I just already behind us, yo.
Yeah.
Someone take care of him. Okay.
If I could aim, bro. Yeah, no, I can't.
Ad's up here.
Ajit.
Oh, that's not Ad.
Jatin.
Yo, he's playing fucking Black Widow.
Yeah,
He's
Widow
not
man.
serious.
I need heals. I need heals.
He's one shot, bro. He has no health bar. Ajit's up there.
Yo, heals, guys.
Going back.
I'm trying to hit Rappy Tappy. Oh, I couldn't
Oh,
hit
they
Rappy
got
Tappy.
me.
Guys behind you.
Yo, low key, I'm gonna try to.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
no,
God.
we gotta switch it up.
I don't think 3 tanks to move, bro. I'm gonna lie to you. I'm gonna switch to DPS.
I'm switching Jeff. Oh, yo, Surfer,
Oh,
you
yeah.
want me to stay?
Bro, somebody take
no,
somebody
I'll
be
stay,
healer
I'll stay,
instead of me, bro.
I'll stay.
Let me take Mantis, bro.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we gotta figure something
out.
out.
In a new spawn room. Hold on. Here, take Mantis.
I honestly don't know why we switch up so much from the last game where it worked out.
Oh, I got fucked, bro.
Alright,
Oh, why'd I do that, bro? Okay, I'm getting
Being a
fucked.
superhero is a piece of cake compared
Why
to
does Iron Man never fly high?
Man, fuck Adjit, yo.
I'm getting fucking raped, bro. Holy.
Arjun,
got
play
you.
tank, bro. Oh, okay.
I got you. Next time. Let die.
Alright. No problem.
I'm about to die again, bro.
This is hitting anyone, he's open.
Alright, Widow's dead.
I
Okay.
died. I'm
Who's in
mid.
the snow? Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we I'm gonna lie. As a team, we're looking crazy, guys.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
know why we switched. To be honest. Okay, lock in.
Okay, yeah.
We are doing
Everything
horrible now.
before now was a joke, bro.
Yo, if Moise is a healer, I think I can abuse him with magic.
If you lose to Black Widow, it's time to uninstall, bro. That guy's almost a Lord Black Widow, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
Bro, what are you talking about? Keep taking that one. You're gonna
Yeah,
Was
he's
that
gonna
Andrew
use.
Black Widow, bro?
on the move.
What a shitty fucking ult, bro.
Okay, there's Luna.
Yo,
Are they double Luna ulti?
Ain't no way, bro.
Oh man, Agit's still like fucking beating off.
Yeah, they are double Luna ulting.
That's
We're
pretty
getting
stupid.
cooked.
No, it's not.
We're gonna get the checkpoint.
Oh, fucking ended my ult, bro. Cook. Okay, we made. I think we took this too much of as a joke.
What? Why are you stressing, bro?
I'm not stressed. I'm just dying. I'm dying without doing anything.
Okay, then don't stand still, bro. Black Widow's gonna get you.
It's when I move that.
We're getting dog walked right now, guys.
They have 4 minutes. That's fine.
Someone's up here. Subi's up here spamming that shit.
He's trying to get me, bro. Oh,
Subi too low.
Super, got super.
get Widow, get Widow, get Widow. I got her.
Oh, he's in the back lane.
Cause she was above us. Cause I was above us.
Get the ass.
Belt to ass, bro. Belt to ass.
Yo, we just playing Rocket.
Okay, he switched.
Yeah.
He switched healers. No problem. I just in the
Oh,
back line.
Agit behind us again, bro. Oh my god.
Okay, they double ulted.
They ulted at the same time. They ulted at the same time.
Oh, big ult, big ult, big ult.
Yep. Fuck
Big
Agit.
ult, big ult, big ult.
Huge ult.
Oh man.
Bounding back into action.
Yo,
I just on a raid.
Okay, your DPSs are coming back. I just behind us.
Can you copy that?
I can hit him for shit.
Again, bro.
I'm healing you.
He's fully focused on me.
Can you copy my ult?
I just still behind us, by the way.
Yo, watch out for this.
I don't got me.
He's one shot. Now he's probably healed.
Oh fuck, bro. We're getting fucked right now, bro.
No, we're good. We're good. We're good.
We're good. We're good.
We're good right now.
Justin's dead. Justin's dead. Justin's dead.
Agit's behind us.
Yeah, that's what
I just did.
Fire,
I'm
fire.
ulting on them.
Music to my ears when you guys say that.
Taken. They spawn around this corner, so we're actually doing pretty good.
I'm gonna hold my ult for Agit's ult again, yo.
I got Alan.
Yeah,
Yo,
yeah.
I'm not
Hey,
gonna
Penny.
lie. Yo, I'm not gonna lie.
Smart, smart. That's really smart. Keep that.
Yeah, I'm just
Yo,
gonna hold it for him.
my
I'm just gonna hold it for him.
Bro, my unibeam's pretty effective against Alan, bro. Low key, like.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is. It is. It is.
Anyone,
'Cause
especially
if you're out of range for.
tanks move slower, and they're a bigger target.
As long as you stay out of his melee range, he can't really do anything to you.
Yo, Agit's mad low. Agit's mad low.
I got
Okay,
Agit.
I'm coming back. I'm
Good shit.
respawning.
I need to go back.
I need heals.
I got you.
Thank you.
Good try.
Yes.
Good shit.
Yeah, that's actually big. Yo, he's gonna be weak. Oh, never mind. He didn't even drop.
I got his ass.
Good shit.
I need heals. Penny's one. Never mind. Okay.
You literally have to run away, bro.
Justin took Luna's ult.
Good ult.
Nice.
Oh, that's sick.
Yo, I think they should have feared Magneto, bro.
Oh god, bro.
Got Supri.
Yo. This is the first time anybody's ever feared Magneto.
No, good Magneto. Fucking dagger and Luna self.
Widow here.
Yeah, you got 3 of them, bro.
Agit,
Dropping ult.
Yeah, let's fucking
I
go.
died. I was outside.
Let's go. Get us
Sorry.
Agit's really weak. Anyways.
Yeah, he's back. Nice.
Nice.
Bounding back into action. Down to
You guys
30
are locked
seconds.
in.
30 seconds.
Keep this in. 30 seconds.
Oh,
They kill me.
Alan's weak.
Thor's low.
He went back.
I'm almost here.
I'm healing you.
I'm
Behind you.
Behind?
He's dead. I have my ult.
Oh.
I'm gonna pop it as soon as Justin's thing's over. I'm popping it.
Good shit. Super slow.
Everybody's back. All right, we're good.
Good shit. Good shit. Good
Yes,
shit.
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, bro. Yes, sir.
All right.
Time to switch things up.
Are we really gonna pull out the Hulk Iron Man Strange combo now?
No.
No.
Yo.
Alright, go Thor, go Thor. Mini, go Thor.
Y'all
Okay.
ever see High School Music? No. Stick to the
Okay.
stuff you know.
Not bad considering your start. Honestly, considering we didn't lock in until halfway through the first checkpoint, yeah.
We're like,
Bro, I'm
yo,
not gonna lie.
we just won a game. Let's just change up everything.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, bro.
Yeah.
Yo.
Bro, we're all doing pretty well, bro. I'm happy.
Hot take.
Hot take 10ish.
No, bro. No, you gotta understand. For me, this is a big deal, bro. This is a big deal, bro. I'm surprising myself at this point, bro.
30 seconds before you attack.
Nah, you got Iron Man down, brother.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, you just gotta. It's hard not to get sniped by
Don't watch my dads.
Black Widow, but yeah.
No one
Don't watch my
moves.
dads, bro.
Yo, I think saving the invisible woman ults for when Star-Lord ults, I think changed this game. Bro.
Yeah.
That was clutch.
Actually
It was
clutch.
clutch, yo.
Yeah, good shit. Yeah, just keep doing that. And I think as a healer, you should. Or he does anyways.
Battle starts in 5.
Wait,
I'm
so
literally just waiting for his
what's-
ult to drop my ult now,
Yeah,
yo.
fuck.
2.
Yeah, no, that's a good contingency against Azure, bro. Solid.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Like, I was thinking the more squids.
Oh, fuck. Thank you.
Watch the nest.
Oh, fucking Agit's behind us already. Agit killed me. Oh my god.
Oh, what?
Agit killed me already. Yeah, he's in the back
Oh,
left,
yeah,
like
he's
left corner room.
above us.
That's annoying.
I breaked it. He's still up there.
Alright, what's our move here? How do we push this?
He's low. He's on the other side of our spawn.
I'm getting a different angle. Behind me.
Let's go. Alright, Minina, make a motion. Pull up.
Yeah, I'm right behind
Something
you
like
guys.
that. I'm walking Alan down for a
Oh.
second.
Yeah, Alan's weak.
Oh,
Alan's
fuck.
dead.
No, I got
I'm on the point. I'm gonna get Justin.
I'm
I got
getting
sniped,
Minina.
bro.
Mui's dead. They're down healer.
Justin's-
Pull up.
I'm about to get Justin
Holy
before he
super, yo,
heals.
Get that nigga. That
Good
nigga's not
shit.
for it.
Alright, get on point.
Justin's dead.
Get the ass.
Alright.
Agent.
No, Widow.
He's dead.
Yeah, where?
Yeah,
How you got this?
damn it, go after the Widow, bro.
If you run.
Alright, I'm pulling up a little bit.
These guys don't know I'm behind them. Louise is dead.
Oh shit, they're here.
Let's get out. Let's get the pick.
Alan's dead.
He's weak. Good shit.
Behind you. Justin and Super Reader back.
Hey, someone stay on point so that we actually move this. If you're
I'll
here,
stay on it.
bet.
Ah, fuck.
Oh,
okay,
fuck, Tanish. I almost got you in time. My
It's all
bad.
good. It's all good.
All good, bro. All good.
I have wolf.
There's a penny nest.
We switched to Iron Fist. He's in our backline, like right in front of our spawn.
Yeah.
Heals.
I got the
Oh,
nest. I
fucking.
got the
Wars
nest.
behind us.
I see Alan.
Penny's here too. Watch out. Don't get in there. Don't go in
Watch out
there.
for Widow.
Okay, I'm a yo. Cause I'm at ult.
I have my ult too.
I'm moving.
I'm over here. Tell me when you use
I'm
it.
ulting.
Yo, stiff flank. Yeah.
I'm dead right now. I'm coming back right now.
Oh, good shit.
Going for Andrew.
Super's
That's
low.
good.
Oh fuck! I know he's up there.
One shot Andrew. Oh, I got you free.
Super's dead.
Got Andrew.
All right, I'm going back
No,
on
I'm looking
point.
in a one-on-one with Alan.
All right, me and Rappy
pulling
Tappy
back, I'm pulling back,
and
I'm pulling
Shamar
back.
on point. We're good.
Bet.
They're gonna ult here.
I'm ready for Agent's ult. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yo.
It's gonna be Justin. It's Justin.
Hey, ult. Nice.
They both ulted.
Double ulted.
Okay.
Stay here.
They're trying to out DPS
He's
the
dead.
heals.
Justin's dead.
Watch out for that.
I just still behind us.
Yeah. Nice. Good shit.
Got Andrew.
Good shit. Keep shit moving.
It's got it.
Yeah, I got Andrew.
Good shit. Stay locked in. Stay locked in. They have to come from pretty decently far away right now.
Yeah. Fuck, Surfall, you're so locked in.
Johnny Storm. Johnny Storm.
Hey.
Justin switch to Johnny Storm.
Yo, Shamar, don't be invisible when you're on point because you don't move it.
They did a healer rotation again.
Got movies.
You Angela up top.
Yeah, phone.
I need help.
Where?
Behind. Okay, never mind. Okay, we get the point and we win. That's basically it.
Scott Allen. Let's go.
I got it.
You're watching for
It's
Widow
just
over there.
she's not right in front of us.
Watch out for Widow!
Unfortunately, bro. Unfortunately.
Damn, I didn't even get to put down my you guys, bro.
Oh,
It's 2 weeks. Wait 2 seconds. Yeah, good lock in, guys.
Way. Bro,
Thor
belt
gap.
to ass, bro. Belt to ass.
The fucking ass. That back shots.
Back shots.
Back
Back shots. There are 2 grandmasters on the team, bro. That's crazy. That's what I'm saying, bro. Yo, Surfo was right, bro.
Back shots. Back shots.
Surfo was right when he said put him on the same team, bro.
What did I say?
You said put the grandmasters on the same team.
Alan and
Well, I did
Justin
say
on the
that.
same team.
I told you put the GMs on the same team.
No matter
Bro.
how much damage your healing Justin does, like it's what the fuck.
It's not enough.
Your secret baby mama's BM.
Bro, what?
What?
Wait, what? Baby mama's DM, bro? What?
It's all making play.
Do y'all want to change the teams up or what?
Bro,
why are you trying to do domination?
Hey man, I don't.
Why is your
I
private
don't
messaging me? How dare you, bro? You're better than this. Who's private messaging? Who's private
This guy's
messaging?
mad I threw.
Who, Justin?
Who's private messaging?
Justin, you're 5 and 5.
Justin, you changed.
Yo, so we got back shots, yo.
Why did you switch to Johnny Storm at the end, bro?
Every time I see you, know, streets.
Yo, y'all were coming after me, bro.
Bro, look at your team comp and then you have no healers.
It was crazy, bro.
4 DPSs at the end.
Everyone was going after me at the end, bro.
Justin, bro, why are you messaging movies like that, bro?
That's so funny.
Joe,
Hey, yo, you guys definitely thought that invincible, huh?
Thought that you cut out.
You cut out.
I'm not gonna lie, no matter how many times I fucking hit you guys, motherfuckers just wanna die, bro. Yo, the healers are on timing, I can't lie.
Yo, Alan.
I was spamming that shit to heal, yo.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, 24
Yo, I'm not gonna lie.
is insane.
Yo, Alan, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Iron Man's Unibeam is super effective against you in this game, bro.
Bro, and because I'm so big, it's annoying as fuck, and I can't take you out because you're in the air.
I know, man.
Grandmaster.
I noticed you were targeting me, Bear. I just can't do nothing against you.
Yeah.
I know, man.
Did we change teams?
I'll have sex with you.
Let's randomize.
Let's randomize.
Yeah. I think
Randomize and then move it if necessary.
Alright, can you take us all?
Back
Okay.
shots.
Bad shots.
Back shots.
Bad shots.
You just have to separate Muiz and Tanish and Shamar
Why,
and
bro?
Supri, I think.
Why? That's crazy hating.
Or not even Shamar. I guess Shamar Supri be carrying their weight. So.
Me, Tanish, Shamar.
Yeah, yo, put
I
me
did
on
my
my
part. I did my part.
Yeah, what do you think?
I did my part. Not in the second, but not the last game. though.
Yo, I'm done
Super,
actually. I'm
you're
not
free
playing no
eats.
more, bro.
Super, you're free eats.
You're done,
The
bro?
last
Yo,
game I
Alan.
won't even lie to you.
Alan.
No man, I'm just gonna fucking have fun. It didn't seem like we were gonna win. I was like, fuck it.
Alan Long.
Like my last 3 deaths, I was like, fuck, bro. I could have done a little better. But that first game, bro, the first 2 games I was locked in.
Ajit, why are you leaving, bro?
I think I might hop off too. You think I like this game, bro? This guy's playing out of necessity.
Yo, Ashton, you
Yeah, you were the
most
best.
of the game, bro. Oh my god.
You're their best player, bro.
It's so annoying, dog.
Suffering from
Yo, you guys are
success.
so annoying. Once Amit started dealing every other guy, it was so annoying, bro. When he became Mantis, Amit solo one-on-one me with the healer, it was so embarrassing, bro. Amit put me to sleep. He did that whole snooze thing where like I fall asleep.
Yo, that's crazy, man. Yo, how did
you saw?
Now they're calling him NyQuil, bro.
One more time? One more time?
I don't know if you noticed, but when I put you to sleep, I emoted then killed you.
Yeah, you
That's so crazy.
We had someone trying to do that on our team.
Who was it, bro?
Moise.
Yo, I did emo.
And then
I
you
just
died?
didn't kill anyone. I was standing on the load, emoting while you guys.
Yo, don't lose that load, bro.
How do we feel about these teams?
I just leaving.
Alright,
right?
I'll play one more.
Oh, okay.
I just play one more, and then we'll go.
Alright, play one more.
Okay. Give me 1 minute. Let me go get water then.
How do you feel about these teams? I'm okay with these teams, bro.
I like my squad. I think Team AMIT picked a good squad. Team JATIN, what do you think?
I
think I should have done better.
You think you should
Justin's
what?
happy I'm not on his team.
I think I should have done better.
As a player or as a captain?
We didn't care. Good things he didn't care.
No, as a player. You know, I should have.
I mean, AMIT was just kind of shitting the bed at the beginning, bro.
Justin was low for morale,
that first
bro.
game.
He was hating.
We don't talk about that first game.
He got to the second round.
Justin, you don't want.
Oh,
He's like, do whatever you want, bro. I don't care.
I saw the
He got so mad. He's like, why'd you switch on Luna?
I was just
Switch on Luna.
Moise kills me, bro. Moise actually kills me.
Now Moise is actually gonna start like playing like fucking Luna and doing well.
No, I won't, bro. I'm not playing Luna Snow.
Yo, Alan, Munir, bro.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous combo to have on one team, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
I know.
This is a solid team, bro.
Bro, only one of them can play.
Yeah, there's only.
Yo, fam, I think, yo, let's introduce banning right now, bro. Let's introduce banning right now.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's do it.
Chill.
Yo, someone ban Luna Snow, please. I don't want to play.
We can do banning.
I mean, I'm just gonna play the team.
Have you?
Yeah, let's do banning. We're banning Warlock.
And Luna Snow, bro. Ban Luna Snow.
We know more characters. We can do it. Okay, yeah.
Yo, ban everyone except Iron Fist. Only Iron Fist.
Yo, only Black Widow mode. Let's go.
Yo, Surf actually like voted to ban Black Widow in a comp game and it won, bro.
No way.
This guy's
got
trolling so
stomped.
hard.
We got cooked.
Let's start the match, no?
No, we're waiting for
Are
Ezra.
these the squads?
Yo, I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back.
These are the teams.
Oh, I'm back. Let's do it.
I'm back.
Are we changing the squad?
Yo,
Oh, okay.
Did we introduce banning?
No, that's fine.
All right, switch
Alright, I'll go
switch
to the other
groups.
channel.
Okay.
Which hero do you
Alright,
think
who's my squad?
Okay, we're staying. What?
All right. Your Thor?
What? We're on the same team?
Yeah, we're on the same team, bro.
Fellas.
Yeah.
Oh, we did introduce banning. Okay.
Smash?
Wait, are we on the same team?
Yeah, we're on the same team. We're on the
Wait,
same team.
Yo, why the fuck did you pick ban Magic?
Ban Magic?
Don't
What
let
we're doing?
Why are you banning Iron Man? Yo, chill. Okay.
Wait, how do I unban, bro?
You can't unban. You can't unban.
You can't unban. Yeah, you can't unban.
Oh my god.
Ban Magic. Okay, that's good. And Thor. Okay, that's tough.
That's tough for Alan, I
Cloak and
guess.
Dagger.
They said
Ban Cloak and Dagger.
Munir, these guys are bitches.
they targeting you. Why did you pick? Why are you banning Thing, bro? Isn't that your character?
Oh, fuck.
You're fucking. These guys are stupid, bro. You act like this is a Grandmaster player.
Yo. No, my bad. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, whatever. We got Cloak and Dagger. All right.
Yes.
Oh, they banned Loki.
They think they can fucking stop me.
All right. And now pick a character.
The right heroes can
Okay.
make all the difference.
Okay.
Alright, fellas, what are we thinking, bro?
I'll go Luna. I can go Luna,
Okay.
Raccoon, Mr. Fantastic, and Johnny Storm.
Yo, Shamar, I was literally about to say they're gonna have a good healer, but you're on our team, so I'm so happy.
Supri,
Why is Shamar on our
play
team?
tank. He's on our team.
Oh, Shamar's.
He's on our team.
No, go
Oh,
Invisible Woman. Go Invisible Woman. We ban.
Yo, I would say Shamar should play healer, no?
We
He
ban
was
Cloak and
fucking
Dagger.
24Ks.
Shamar, play Invisible
Invisible
Woman.
Woman is a healer.
Yeah, Invis. Yeah, there we go.
Bro, Shamar, you did 24K, but and we have a team up.
Yo, low key, let me go Johnny Storm then.
Yeah, we all get a team
Go
up.
Johnny Storm.
I'll go Johnny Storm because like.
Solid.
Yo, take advantage of his dive. His dive does a lot of damage. If you use his
I
iron
know.
burst,
A regular
Yeah.
listen. You know the one that makes the shape?
Yo, Munir,
If you use
Munir,
that
if you want,
in
you can go
combination
Storm
with his
as well.
dive. No, I'm not going. I can't go Storm.
No, I'll go Storm. I'll go
No,
Storm.
I'm telling Munir he can go Storm as well because me and Munir got a crazy fucking ult when we use it together, bro.
I got you, bro. Yo, Super, you here, bro?
Yeah. My fault.
Yo, Super, bro. I was actually random ass hating on their part, bro. What the fuck, man? Fuck
What was random? I said that.
No, like banning.
I mean, like,
It's jokes, it's jokes, it's jokes.
Both Manir and oh, yeah, that's true.
I'm on the same team as him.
I'm in here. I'm gonna stick close with you, bro. Yo, you got that thing where it increases damage, bro?
Yeah, let me put that.
Yo,
shit on,
Manir,
bro.
to be honest, that was the smartest ban for them.
Oh, here
No,
comes
honestly.
Ajit.
Alright, you're gonna thing all
Holy
over
fuck,
them.
I can't hit him, bro. Alright, Aegis is behind us still. Oh my god.
Ajit's behind us.
Yeah, he raped me. I can't lie.
I had no idea you guys were looking back.
Oh, it's
I was wondering why there was absolutely 0 people with me.
Oh my god, I just got raped, bro. Low key, I might have to switch Iron Man, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, dude,
actually
no
not you.
problem,
Oh, what
no
the
problem,
hell?
bro.
yeah,
Dude,
just Iron Man.
Alright.
Just cause I'm like, yo,
Okay.
Yeah, nice. Yo, I'll definitely be there to protect.
Help me get volume, help me get volume. Never mind, they're back, they're back. Okay, who's playing Penny? Surf's playing Penny?
I'm Penny.
No, on their team, Fuck.
Oh, okay.
Took out Ajit,
bro,
like,
movies is
very easily.
Alright.
oh fuck, Amit actually killed me, bro.
Yeah, they got good heals on their team. And Emmett's fucking DPS Mantis right now, bro.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Fuck, okay. You know what? Low key.
Fucking Adam, we're alive.
Punisher, bro.
Alright. Like Boonisher? Alright.
Movies
call
thinks
me
he
the
can
Boonisher.
outgoon me, bro. Movies thinks he can outgoon me, bro.
Yo, Justin, watch me have the greatest game ever now.
Yeah, I'm telling you now, he's actually gonna try.
Holy crap, bro. You guys do not play.
No, I'm telling
Nah,
you.
we're
He's
good,
like,
we're good.
Nah, it's okay, it's okay. Don't worry, don't worry.
I'm out behind you just in case. Whenever you guys want me to tank, let me know. I'm just waiting.
Oh, did he? He's turret on the point. Okay. Oh, it was a second too late. Fuck.
Oh, I dropped mine.
no, it's okay. Doing good.
Turn 2.
We need to coordinate a little bit better, guys.
Oh, someone help. Oh fuck, I just got
Oh
raped.
shit.
I'm dead. Oh, I'm surprised.
Holy crap. We do not have anything set up right now.
Yeah, we got no motion, guys. Moves in one,
One line
nice.
down.
Get Ajit. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, he's just
Squirrel stampeding on them.
Cover me,
Okay, they double ulted. Ajit's above us.
guys. Someone get Ajit, bro, because I can't.
He's behind you, Justin. He's behind you, Justin.
Yeah, there's also someone in front of me.
I got him. They got the checkpoint though, unfortunately.
Let me know if you guys want me to stick with you instead of pushing, because I'm not gonna kill Ajit pretty easily. I killed him twice.
Rappy Tappy chasing the fuck out of me. I might be dead here. I don't know how I'm still alive. I'm
Alan,
dead.
you might be on Ajit control, bro.
Okay. But I'm also supposed to be pushing, so it's kind of hard to do both, but I'll try.
I know, but bro, to be honest,
Yeah,
like, it's hard for all of us to
baby!
push.
Let's go! I was cooking those fuckers.
Bro, you can't be saying that when they have fucking 4.5 minutes left and they're like right
Watch
here.
this. Watch that, boy!
Oh!
Watch
Okay.
that, boy!
Okay, it's clobbering time.
What?
It's clobbering time. It's clobbering time.
Bro, I just killed so many people, bro. Come on, bro.
Yo, they just all got revived though. Not gonna lie to you.
What, so heals? Okay, bro, I know heals. Whatever.
Holy fuck, I hate Fabled. Whoa, what the fuck? Oh my god, man.
I got my ult. I got my ult.
I got my ult too.
I got my ult. That's meant to be.
I'm gonna ult on them.
Ooh, I just actually learned to target.
Got one. Got two.
Turbo.
Got three.
No, Ajit, man. Oh.
Can somebody help me fight these healers? Okay, never mind. Star-Lord's still alive. Okay. Okay, that's not ideal.
I have ult.
Okay.
You can use this now.
Alright.
Thank you.
Pushing up.
I mean,
I'm not using
Warlock's
anything
dead.
here.
Holy crap, I did not even see this.
I'm just right here.
Ajit behind.
Alan, behind you.
Got Ajit.
Which one is that?
Both of them, boys. I got both of them. Yo.
Good shit.
Yeah, I'm turning up today.
Ah!
Nice, good shield.
Come out.
He's gonna get me. Oh, he did not. Let's clear that.
Someone's Hulk.
Yeah, Shamar, your ult basically completely, like,
Circle switch to Hulk.
It counts as an L, yo.
Yeah, it does completely.
This shit is easy.
Chill.
Do not. They still have 2.5 minutes, you know.
Blue banner.
Got a lot of them.
Got him.
Yep.
Magneto dead.
Good shit.
Don't
Adam's running.
push up too much. Don't stay in line of the heals.
I just won. He's dead.
Fire, man. Yo, we're all turning up now, bro. Holy.
Yeah, keep it up.
Watch out for the Punisher, man.
Adam up there. Punisher's dead, by the way. I just
Yo,
killed him.
I got my ult whenever y'all need it.
Whenever they're grouped together, just use it.
Bad.
Nice. That was really good.
Charlotte up there.
I hear a Moon Knight somewhere.
I'm getting it.
Gotcha.
Squirrel power.
Oh, yeah, Alan, you're very much outside right now.
I'm coming back.
Oh, Moon Knight.
Can you hear me, Alan?
Oh, that's not
Oh,
good.
he's aiming for me. He's aiming for me.
Need heals. Amit's here.
Where is Amit?
Mark.
Right here.
Yeah, I need a ping.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Oh, yeah, he's Black Panther now? Okay. Moon Knight's pushing up. I'm ulting.
So, Scarlet.
Amit's here.
died.
Avoid that ult. Oh.
It's okay.
That was a good ult.
Stay alive.
Excellent ult.
Yes.
We.
Wait, just a minute left, guys. I have my ult too. I can save it for agents again.
Yeah, my ult. I'm probably gonna pop it real quick.
Alan!
Oh, okay, got Amit.
Yeah, boy.
Got Amit. I got you.
Alan's just right in front of us.
Oh, oh, wow. Did
dead?
Luis just go Lunas? No, of course he did.
Oh, fucking get the onk.
Yo, watch out for the ult.
I died again.
Good, Luis wasted his ult.
Okay.
Best fucking ult in the game, almost.
Hey, bro. You know that guy.
Yeah, believe me, I do.
Don't go too far.
Oh, fuck. Actually got me.
Oh, watch out for that.
Just get him the ult,
Come out.
He's one shot.
I can't hit him. Fuck, okay.
Yeah, okay, we got.
Holy shit.
You have Luis? Oh. Can you hear me?
Nice.
You can hear me, dude. I got ult.
Yeah, Magneto, he's one. Okay, we're good.
Black Panther's weak.
Now just damn it.
Got Amit.
Black Panther's dead.
You sold it.
That's game.
Gotta look for the next one now.
Oh. Yeah, baby. Yo,
go.
taken.
Okay.
For men to lock in last second, that was pretty good, bro. You locked in like.
We actually did, and I had lost hope.
You had lost hope,
Holy,
bro.
yeah, like that was a last second lock in, bro. Holy.
You'll need a top-notch team to win this one.
Alright. Run it back, I guess.
I guess what we're doing right now is good then, I guess, no?
Yeah.
It's working.
they blocked door, they didn't know about the thing, bro.
Yo, I'm gonna keep it 100. When I have a team that pushes, bro, I'm actually raping them, bro. Like,
Bro, I'm literally just hailing down acorns from like the sky, and Alan just finishing them off, bro.
Them so bad, bro. Anytime they pull up, just fuck them.
Bro, Alan,
Bro,
fucking.
low-key, no, but you know what it is? You know what it is? It's just like initially, at least for me, bro. Like when it's just Agit, bro, in the back, bro, it's so tough, bro.
Don't worry,
he really divides a lot. That's why it's
once
like, yo,
mark, it will definitely help out.
Like if we can take care of Agit, then like pushing is not a problem.
Shamar's ult also completely negates Agit's ult, so I think that's
Save my ult for his ult, yo.
No, I was also about to say always save it for him. It's huge. It saves so many.
Yo,
lives.
Shamar, man, you're the Agit killer, bro.
You're actually Kryptonite.
Literally, bro. You're the reason he doesn't want to play anymore, bro.
No. Yo, you ever watch John Wick? You ever watch John Wick, bro? You know? Bro, Adris the boogeyman, Shamar is John Wick. Bro.
He's the Baba Yaga, bro. He's the one thing who's the killer.
The guy you sent to kill the boogeyman, bro.
If he's alone, just go after Ajit. He has 10 deaths. He's dying a lot.
Yeah, I'm cooking him up too. Not gonna lie.
I'm dying a lot too, bro.
I have been cooking Ajit this year. I'm not gonna lie. He's good though.
He's good. He's a menace, bro.
To be honest, I've been cooking Moon Knight and I've been cooking the healers
Axe
too.
behind us, Axe behind us. Axe behind us.
Ready?
Yeah, I got him. This map is
He's in the trees.
not bad for him.
I'm chasing him. I'm chasing him. I'm breaking everything. He's one shot. Nice. Okay. He's gonna revive himself.
He's gonna respawn. He's gonna respawn.
What do you mean he's gonna oh yeah, because he has the team up with him.
Yeah, we're just watching him.
Oh, he just killed himself. Wow.
Oh, he ran out of time.
Yeah, he probably doesn't know how to use it because it's like limited time shit.
No, he knows how to use it. He just always uses it immediately.
I need heals. Thank you.
I don't think he knew it ran out of time. Alright, I'm here with you. Nah, I just dead. I'm breaking the nest. Well, I'm trying to at least, but they're body blocking the fuck out of it.
Yo, wait a little bit. I almost have ult.
I'm ulting on them.
Keep Alan alive.
The nest is one. The nest is one.
Hug the corner. 97.
The nest is done.
Oh, actually push.
Yeah, she's got no nest though.
Ulting.
Alright, bet.
Get near me. Just get near me. Oh, Shamar, you're alone.
Push up. Okay, never mind.
I'm with you.
I'm here.
Penny Parker's about to die.
Kill Turtle.
Yeah.
Okay, not bad. That was a good push, guys. We gotta like push with the ults like that.
Emmett's one. Never mind. Emmett ulted.
And
Oh
Emmett ulted.
fuck, bro. I almost got Emmett though.
Oh, I got killed.
Don't worry. We're on the comeback.
Okay, I just solo ulted me.
He's half health. Remember, he doesn't regen health when he does that.
I just solo ulted me when I was at half health with their whole team behind him. Okay, sure.
I'm like, whatever, bro.
Oh fuck, low key. I goofed there. Shouldn't have gone in
It's okay. Regroup.
You're playing well, bro.
We have a minute 30.
Thank you, bro. I love you, Alan. Alright,
Who's alone right now? Whoever's alone, back up.
Okay.
I'm with Soups.
Yeah, Shamar.
Soups.
Okay, we're all here.
They have a turret.
Oh fuck.
Nice.
Yep.
Attitude. There you go.
I breaked it.
Oh, he got me, bro.
Yo, push Prey. I'm gonna drop my ult on Prey, yo.
I'm pushing it.
Do it.
Thank you.
Good.
They soul bounded.
On the way back.
Got for Andrew. Andrew's weak.
I'm squirreling in there.
Yo, I just back here.
Get Emmett. Alright, Emmett's in.
It's always Amit and Ajit together.
I'm down. There we go.
Kill that.
Get near me.
Going after Surfa. Kill Surfa.
We got it.
We all on
I
it.
wasted ult a little bit, but whatever. It is what it is.
Nah,
You
it's
get 'em?
okay. Just
Alright, nice.
just keep pushing. We're pretty close to the second shot.
They're all there.
I have my ult. I've been
Someone's coming
waiting.
around, flanking.
Get
It's okay, Jonathan, don't push.
No.
Oh fuck, I died.
Don't push yourself. I was gonna come with you, but
If he didn't get that health back, we would have had him. But he's attacking back right now. He's
Okay.
Behind us.
Turret.
That's behind.
I see Ajit.
This guy got away,
I'm almost dead.
I
Fuck.
don't have my ult.
I just above you guys.
Get inside, get indoors,
fuck, bro.
in order for him to do that.
Ajit got me.
Oh my god, the only time I get to go to the holes when I fucking die through it. That's so cool.
It's okay. Regroup.
Tough one.
Just wait for our tanks to come back and we'll regroup.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna try
I'm
to.
riding with you, bro.
No, chill. Fall back.
Oh fuck.
I'm here. Oh,
Alright. I just up close. I'm ulting on them.
He's near me.
Okay. Mantis ulted. I killed her anyways.
Good kill. It's a very good kill.
I need health. I'm dead. Fuck. Fucking penny mine, bro.
Trying.
Nah, it was a penny mine, bro. I couldn't do anything.
Yo. I just still behind us. Be weird.
What the fuck?
Damn, Raffy Taffy's
Where does he
fucking
come
killing
from,
me.
bro?
He just drops the mines, bro. He just.
Only 60 seconds left.
Yo, let's start focusing on point and not Agit, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I know he's in the backline, but don't focus just on him. Because then we're gonna lose point that way, which is what happened.
Oh fuck me, bro.
I'm coming.
Stay alive. I have ult. I'm soon.
Yo, I got my ult.
Use it when
He's
they're
gonna ult.
up.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I'm on my way back. Got Agit.
Agit's dead.
Penny's pushing back.
We
Penny's
got the
pushing
point, we
back.
got the point. Get the push for it.
Penny's gonna get it back. Fuck, Penny got it back.
Oh,
Coming out.
Yeah, he's starting to need that. You guys.
oh my god, bro. Fuck. Died again.
We got it back.
Oh fuck, Punisher ult.
Oh, I can't stop that.
He's dead. Oh, I'm dead. Fuck.
I
died a while ago.
Why is Weez actually playing well this time, bro?
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
Damn.
Hi. Fuck.
Is it tied? Oh no, it's
Nah,
not
it's over.
tied.
No.
Nah, they won.
Yo, honestly, it was a good fight though.
It was.
Well, you can't
We were
expect
scrapping, bro.
them all.
Good game, guys.
GG.
Why did you guys ban Star-Lord, bro?
Why would you ban Cloak?
Why? That's a great question.
Why
bro.
would you? No, yeah, wait. Why did you guys ban Cloak? Like, I'm not even trying to like trash talk. I'm genuinely curious.
Back shots.
Well done.
Hey, yo, I'm asking serious. Why did you ban Cloak and not Star-Lord?
Back shot.
I don't have the answer for you, bro.
Okay, no, like you guys voted Cloak. Why would you vote Cloak?
I didn't vote for anybody. You gotta ask the people who voted,
that
bro.
was why.
Bro, by accident.
Okay, you should have.
Alan, bro.
That's
Oh
true.
my God.
Agit is always the sleeper now.
I know it was Alan, bro.
Star-Lord was clearly the pick, bro.
No, I just voted the thing, bro.
All right.
1000%, bro.
All right, good run, boys. I must sleep now.
Oh yeah.
Thanks.
Is everyone done?
No, yeah.
Me now on if she gotta.
All right, who we losing, bro?
Instagram. I still got some juice if y'all are.
Alright, we lost Moise, we lost Adjith.
Alan was a demon,
I'm
bro.
down.
I gotta cut.
Yeah, I know.
We lost
Later,
Andrew.
Bro, but you know what it is? No matter how much damage you do, though, if I'm alone, eventually you guys gonna cook me, right? Like what happens is I get separated from my team, and then I just get blasted.
Bro, that's the nature of being a dive character, but you like the dive characters.
And you like to get molested.
Yeah. That's facts. It's just, a win would be nice, but it is what it is.
It is.
Hey man.
Why did you guys
bro.
ban Lunas?
Yo, y'all won the first one, bro.
Bro,
Nice,
it's some.
nice.
I mean, yeah, but it should have went to 3 though, right?
Wait, what?
No, like
It
it
did
should have
go to
went to. It should have been. No, the first one should have been 3 games. Is what I was saying.
That's
Oh,
so
the first-
funny. I deadass thought there was somebody else on the other team, and I was like, oh, guess not.
Yo, Scooby, bro. You know what's funny? I literally said right after we won, I said, yo, I'm just going in there, let's just chill. And then Super immediately started saying, back shots, for no reason.
I don't know. I was just
And
like,
that shit
fuck, bro, I gotta
backfired
set the
immediately,
tone.
bro.
Bro, I didn't know, like, I didn't know things would transpire like that. I didn't think that far ahead.
Hey, man, we were trolling first game, bro.
I'm fucking excited.
Whatever.
So what we doing? We
Am I one?
just playing game with us?
What'd you say?
I don't know. I mean, I would be down for a 6, but
How many
Yeah,
I'll
hey.
cut. I'm about to cut still.
okay, Loki.
Oh, okay. All right, later, man.
Later, boys.
All right, that's it.
Let's make a.
Honestly,
group
I'll
right
cut
here, man.
too.
Yo, no, I mean, yo, Jatin, I can leave too, to be honest.
Hashtag kill Amit.
Nah,
That's crazy.
nah, Amit did a great job. Who said that? No, I'll get
My
off.
chat
I
said
don't-
that,
yeah,
bro.
I'll
Who you
get
think?
off.
Who you think?
Yeah, okay.
Does anybody want to
Sahal?
run comp? Anybody want to run comp?
I'm so
Maybe
down for
li-
comp.
What do you say fuck me for?
I'm
bro?
down, bro. I'm down, bro.
For comp?
Guys, we cannot play comp
Why
together.
not?
What do you say fuck me for, bro?
Yeah, comp gotta be Team Surfo. Yeah, no, I'm definitely quick play.
That's crazy, bro.
No, if you guys want to run comp,
Alright, but
do comp, don't.
No, we can't. No, everyone here can't play comp.
yeah,
I mean, I can't play, but as I said, I'll just cut. Don't worry.
Can't you run with
Nah,
us?
you can hop on and I can hop on. Like,
No. I'm down for quick match.
Wait,
okay.
Diamond 3 can't play with Grandmaster 3, or is am I
wait, no, never mind.
Can.
Can yeah,
We
yeah,
can.
Alan, yeah, we can hop on.
But Yasin, but it's at the same time,
We can,
Manir
but
can't play.
the only issue is I lose like 40 if I lose the.
We diamond dogs.
If you end up fucking
No,
up, like, just
Alan, we can
fucking
play quick
around.
play together. Don't worry, bro.
Bro, you have to get
I'm
master,
down for quick
bro.
play. I'm down for quick play. Yo, me and we are the same team. Quick play always fun, bro.
Thor merchants.
Yo, that's right. Yeah,
I'm
two
not-
doors.
Bro, I wasn't even Thor, bro.
Yeah, I can't even lie. You
I
both
wasn't
guys
Thor
were
either,
cooking.
bro.
Yeah, both
Yeah.
you guys are cooking. Yeah, I
Yo,
totally
hey,
hate it.
you know the whole time I'm like, yo, just keep coming at me, bro. You know, even Aji, because Aji was scaring these guys, bro. As in, like, we'd get separated. So Aji would keep trying to isolate. So he tried to one-on-one people, which is smart on his end, right? But I'm all the way taking in the front, so it's hard to push back. So Aji was cooking in that.
No,
sense,
no, but the thing with that is
The
like
thing?
we all be trying to push.
and then Aji would be in the
Dang,
backline trying to kill like somebody.
Yeah, and Aju would pick us off one by one in the back, so we like naturally had to like have a response for Aju, bro. Yo, Arjun, you're 100% right, bro. I don't know why we didn't just ban Star-Lord, bro. Banning Star-Lord would've like fucking nerfed
And also, like, yo,
That's-
back to Agit, he would agree with me. I don't think he can play any other character.
Yeah.
Literally,
Oh,
I
yeah,
thought
he can,
I thought
he
you
can.
guys were gonna do, bro. Like I'm like before you guys even did, I'm like, oh my god, these guys would ban Star-Lord.
Bro,
And when you
we
did it, I'm
launched
like,
the
you
game
are
and
so
these guys
dumb.
are banning characters, thinking it's to pick a character. I'm like, bro, we're so cooked. Tan's trying to ban Iron Man. Fucking Super's trying to ban Penny Parker. I'm like, bro, what are you guys cooking right now?
Yo,
Bro, I
Alan,
was
reach.
paying attention, I just
shit,
clicked Iron Man. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, I only got one game though, guys. Let's make this.
Yeah,
a
same.
good
Me too. Just because I will just sleep.
Come on, because we still have Shamar too.
Oh, Shamar's here?
No, he's not.
No,
He's not even in the Discord, bro.
He's not in the Discord.
Alright, that's my
Yeah.
fault.
Run it,
That's
bro.
why, no, because he's on the other room. That's why I thought he
Rappy
was over
Tappy.
there.
Nah, it's his room
Yo,
now, bro.
low key, I'm gonna go thing again, bro. Fuck it.
Where I'm host.
Yeah.
Yeah, when if you wanna go Thor, go for it.
Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Are you
I
about to
fuck
do
it,
Spider-Man?
He's a Spider-Man.
Is it a Spider-Man debut?
I'm gonna go Thor.
You're gonna
Spider-Man
go Thor?
debut,
Oh,
bro.
shit.
Hey, yo, all tanks, all tanks.
All tanks?
Yo, are you
I'm down for
Thor,
that.
bro?
I'm down all
Arjun
tanks.
Thor is crazy.
All tanks?
All tanks, bro.
What the fuck is a tank, bro? I don't even know.
Bro.
The big boys. The big boys, bro.
Look at that, bro. Gotta go. I gotta go, my boy, bro.
Oh, you want to play?
I guess I'll be Thor then, bro. Fuck it, bro.
No,
Yeah, go for it.
Yo, ban. Yo, this needs to be constant. Ban Arjun from playing group, bro. This fucking sucks.
Wait, yo, Captain America.
Yo, Alan, you do well if I want to.
Wait, what? Oh, you can use group if you want? Okay.
You seen me play group well.
Have we? Yo, for our team or their team, bro? Which team were you playing for?
Do I have to be Thor, bro? Like, yo, low key?
But
You don't have to be Thor. Who do you want to be, bro?
Then you play well, so that's why.
Yeah, because that's me trolling.
You can be whoever you want.
Like
bro.
last time, yo, Alan, last time you were running.
want Captain
Last time
America,
we were running,
Tannis?
let's stop trolling.
Yeah, there were some serious CMC.
Tannis, you want Captain America?
You're right. Yo, Arjun, there were some games where me and you locked in. We were beating up people together. You know what that's what I need? I need someone who thanks right next to me.
Yeah, you got 5, bro.
I think you and Magic would also.
Yo, yeah, because bro, if you whip me, then it's easy. But if I'm alone, I'm just getting my ass beat alone.
I hate this dude.
Why do you make on Magic?
Someone was
Whoa!
Yo, I just realized we have no heals. Bro.
Yeah, I realized that while I was dying.
I just realized that as my health is going low.
My bad.
No tank meta.
Oh fuck, I just got raped, bro.
Yeah. No, bro, we didn't get raped. We just have no healers.
We don't have any healers, bro.
Wait, we're all fighting for the health pack on the side.
Yeah, exactly.
Bro, y'all are selling, fam.
But what are you selling?
Every single one of you, bro. Every single one of you selling, bro.
Hey man, I have no deaths, bro. Never mind.
Never mind.
Bro, that's
I'm getting raped so hard, bro.
Yo, I'm sorry to tell you, I just took it, bro.
when you're still the health pack, bro.
Yo, I'm gonna let you know I took the next one too.
You're actually a bitch, bro.
We're all fighting for the same health pack.
Bro, the fucking nest is one, bro. The nest is one, bro. Please.
You guys, come here.
Oh, you're getting fat. Let's do it.
No, big puppy tree for change characters, bro. Alright, I guess I gotta play Hulk then.
Oh, I don't think you're making it, bro.
Bro, me and Servo can't leave, bro. Me and Servo can't leave. Bro, Servo, run for your life, bro.
Hey, run for your life. Hey, run for your life. Freaky ass.
We're getting cooked up.
Yo, on the real though, do you guys want me to play here? I mean, you can.
Yo, on the real though.
I'm generally being serious, I'm doing what's out here.
I'm having fun with this.
Yo, good shit, Billy Parker. Freaky ass.
I don't know if fun is the word I use, but it's definitely something, bro.
It's definitely making bro contemplate suicide, man. It's fun, right?
Y'all are selling, bro.
Bro, shut the fuck. Yo, Servo's
What more can I do, fam?
Oh, I died, bro. I'm probably. Oh.
Okay, yo, I actually can't play like this.
No, it's actually possible.
Yo, I'm just
don't worry.
I'm selling.
2 minute mark to switch to what you're used to and just make
Bro,
a
what do
crazy
you mean you're
comeback.
selling, bro? We know you really can't do anything. Okay, I'm just gonna heal you guys, fuck you.
Oh my god. No. I'm alive.
You're good. Keep you guys around. Okay, don't fucking die to that shit. Bro, why is she fucking me for it?
We get bodies.
You guys actually got fucking heals, bro.
Oh, yo, I think someone switched up. Yo, we're cooking.
Bro, 100% we took as soon as we got heals, bro. I'm pretty sure we're all pretty good.
Oh, we have a healer? Yo, get the fuck off.
Yeah, like that's why we're winning, bro.
No, fuck that, bro.
You actually want me to get up?
No. What do you think?
We're literally winning because of that, yeah.
No, this is because we have all tanks, bro. That's the only reason.
Bro,
all tanks is working.
Oh, all tanks out here?
Kill me.
Bro, I would if I could, my brother.
Where are you?
I'm good.
I was healing everybody's fucking butt, man.
No, I think you did it. Oh, this is good.
Yo, run!
Oh my god.
No.
It's Wolverine.
Like, what the fuck? Man, move, bro.
I'll keep you.
I hate you. Are you gonna start?
Bro, that's what I'm saying, yo, he just puts random ass walls and he's like,
You pussy.
bro, you fuck that Psylocke, eh? She's fucking.
Oh, good bit,
There you go. I have to do it to him, bro.
Man, fuck you.
Bro, this is actually hilarious.
Get out
bro.
of here.
I was having so much fun as a thing and now I'm fucking playing you.
I was like,
Motherfuckers made me get off just because I underlined him.
Fuck him up.
Man, chase that.
Yeah, come back, come back, you're too far.
Yo, Arjun, that wall would have been devastating to hear, bro.
That was the idea, bro.
Get this guy.
I mean, don't worry, you're gonna stay alive, don't worry.
Hey, unironically, this is a good squad.
Bro, obviously, bro. When we actually try, 100%.
I've never seen Alan play healer, so no.
No, I'm
doing a good
pretty
job,
good,
bro.
I'm pretty good at healing. I'm just keeping a fucking Amit alive because he's pushing 1v like 5 right now. I don't know why, but he's cooking though. Here, Amit, do your thing. Good shit, you guys are fine, bro.
Oh, I died.
I'm gonna embarrass this out, dude. Yo, what the fuck just happened? Why did you guys get ruined?
Get the assist, get the assist! Let's go!
Yeah,
Good shit, good shit.
I got them.
Yo,
we're fucking them all of a sudden, bro.
Bro, I made the
It's one of my
penny.
favorite things, bro.
Trevor, low-key great push though, I can't lie.
Is everyone dead? Where's everyone?
Yeah, we just go back, we just go back, we just go back.
Magneto beat my ass in the back tonight.
You're Magneto?
Bro, what the fuck? Yo, no, yo, fuck you, dude. How'd you make that? Yo, when you're Loki, that was fire.
Yo, Amy, bro, I see you as fucking over me, bro. That's not even good enough for you, bro.
Bro, watch out. I can't hear you guys behind the wall, watch out. Yo, watch out.
Thank you. What the fuck?
What the
fuck?
Yo, what?
That's not good. That's not good.
The thing is breaking. The thing's fucking him.
Oh, fuck, the Punisher, bro.
The Gunisher.
The Gunisher, bro. Hey, man, there's only one Gunisher, bro. The only man that can take that from me is if Carney made fucking Punisher as well. That's the only man that can take it from me, bro.
I give anything away.
Tired of being Penny, bro.
Yo, they're actually targeting the one healer, which is jokes though. Like, why? Why are they taking this so seriously? It's quick match, bro. I love we're just fucking around and these motherfuckers look locked in, bro.
Oh, they're cracking my phone.
Do your thing. Oh, what the fuck?
Oh my god, I just got fucked in the ass.
There was like 2 ults at once.
I died.
There was 2 ults at once, that's the soda my whatever the fuck, man. The next time. Psylocke.
Yeah, why are they locking in?
Bro, they're taking this very seriously. Arjun, they're like completely damaging you, but you're
Oh, I
still
got
alive.
fucked, bro. I got raped in like a millisecond, bro.
I saw that. I tried healing you too,
Bro,
but it was like 2 seconds.
Oh, behind
I think
you too?
you just open the door and then like really.
No, not even
oh my
that,
goodness.
bro.
Who's hitting you, bro?
I halted on my flight a little too late, bro. You guys started fucking me, bro.
Am I solo tanking? This is the opposite of what I signed up for, man. Fuck.
You were definitely solo taking it, I'm not gonna lie.
No. Oh, alright.
Oh, fucking died.
Oh fuck.
Yo, that
Guys.
the hand, dude.
Bro, it's through that door they're just raping us. That
Bro,
one
it's
door.
set up like crazy.
Okay. I ain't gonna lie, like not too long ago, bro.
Finish.
We were doing the same event, bro.
Finish. Blink.
Bro, they're double ulting together. No, they got me with an ult too. Oh my goodness. That was like 3 ults. Magneto, Psylocke, and Black Widow. Yo, Surf, I see you. I see that. That's smart. That's really awesome.
Yeah, good shit, Surf. I see that too.
Yeah. Surf, never mind, bro. That was not good. Surf, never mind, bro. What were you cooking, bro? I thought you were cooking until I thought it was that.
Bro, I'm just trying to use my ults, fam.
I know. That ult is annoying as fuck, bro. Bro, how many fucking using ult, bro?
Oh my god, I almost got
I sound like be using her all like every like 10 minutes, bro. No.
Wow, that's so amazing, guys. Yo,
I feel the whole team, bro. Never mind.
Bro, healer diff, bro.
They had 3, bro. What do you mean the difference? One game, bro.
Dog, combined they have what? They have 25, they have 26k heals. We only have 21k heals, bro.
Yeah, it's just not enough healing, bro.
I have 21k myself, more than all of them. And I switched to healer like after 5 minutes.
One more. You guys are down for one more? You guys are...
Yeah, I got one more.
That shit was fun though. It was a lot more fun than I thought it would be.
I can play healer again.
Do y'all believe we can get a team wipe or not? If we actually took it serious.
I think
Easily. I definitely think so. But we believe healers. That's the thing.
Yeah, let's get a team wipe, bro.
Oh, you're actually playing healer? We can generally win now.
Okay, I am not playing healer, bro. I looked at this team comp. I am not playing healer.
Yo, come on. Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. What is this, bro? You guys are selling heavy right now. What is this? Greatest sell job in history, bro. There's no tanks. What are your... Okay, thank you, sir, bro.
Man, he's selling him a cap. He's selling, bro.
Wait, actually, is he asking cap?
Actually, no. Wait, I don't need. Wait, no, I don't want to do cap. I don't want to be cap.
Bro, are you asking cap? Are you not sure?
Oh,
Yo, who the fuck is that guy all the way in like Afghanistan?
Hey man, I'm tired of you guys selling, bro. I'm here to lock in.
Are you actually though? Like for real? Are you be for real, man? Yo, are you?
What did you do? What did you do?
Nah, chill, when you're done.
Yeah, bro.
Sky, you want to win?
Yo, bro, if nobody's here, who the fuck am I gonna heal, bro?
Heal yourself, man. Be happy.
Yo, literally nobody's here right now. Oh, thank you. Who is this? Yo,
bro said who?
Bro, how did I die?
Yo, bro, I'm not gonna lie, I thought we got it, bro. What the fuck happened?
Yo, dog, Al healed.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I ran away, bro. Because me and Circle were really Venom. We somehow managed to win.
Yeah, cause he was getting killed too.
Oh, was he actually? But he was like,
yeah.
Oh, what? Yo, this Venom is just, he's cooking, bro. I lie.
Oh my god.
He's a lord, makes sense.
Not dead. Remember it all, actually.
He is not dead at all.
Yo, you don't understand what me and Circle.
Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm getting fucking molested, bro.
Okay, I'm gonna just wait for you guys to actually make it like a proper push.
I was like, yo, let me know when y'all done around.
Arjun, did you commit suicide or did you actually play that time?
You guys are fucking me, bro. 4 man's on you, bro.
Mad would run.
He's like, yo, don't even try. Just run, bro.
Oh, bro, I was trying to heal this fucker. Bro, this Venom won't die. Yo, who's Wolverine? Please take care of Venom.
Take care of him? Yeah, bro.
You might be asking too much of him, bro.
You just keep healing at me right now. And someone's ulting on me.
Oh my god.
What happened?
Captured point, bro.
Oh, you're making me fight as Rocky right now, bro.
No, that was the funniest shit. Y'all don't understand, bro. Everyone beefing in the circle as Punisher just went and catches the horn.
Bro, Bucky's chasing.
Bucky got me still.
I literally got him chasing, bro.
I got rocket team up the stuff.
Yo, I literally said he's chasing and Circle just got replayed.
Yeah, I did. That is indeed what happened.
Yo, why both tanks holding me?
Yo, Arjun, I'm not gonna stick around for that shit, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Good luck, bro.
Yo, why am I soloing? Yo, fuck it. Yo, just the venomous shit, bro. He's scared.
Oh my god, bro. Fucking got my ass, bro.
Oh fuck!
Yeah, that Venom hates me, but.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, bro. This guy was a solo strategist, bro.
Bro, I'm healing you, but I don't know what you're cooking for there, but what the fuck? This game? Okay. Bro, ran away from his one you. I'm gonna heal him.
So you're locked in?
I was leaving.
The Surfo is solo.
He's like
Something about that earlier play, though.
Yeah, he's like Johnny Storm. Johnny Storm. I gotta out.
Yo, respect me, bro.
Good shit, bro. Good shit.
Man, I forgot how fun it is to play Warlock, bro.
Allow me to bench it. Oh, you
Watch out. Who's he aiming for you?
What? I need you to
trying to keep you alive.
Thank you, Alan. That was good.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna lie, he had that all. Yo, Venom's on Punisher.
Venom.
Oh my god, Venom chasing me! Venom chasing me!
Good shit,
Oh my whoa.
Got him.
Big dogs.
They ain't gonna know what hit him.
Yo, Tannis, those guys are yours. Teach him a lesson, bro. You're the only person who runs this guys.
This guy's yours, bro.
Yeah, I see you ran, bro. You ran.
Listen, bro.
Don't worry when you keep fighting. I'm gonna keep healing you. It's still like...
I don't know if I feel like it.
Bro, come on, please, bro. Archie, what the fuck?
Yo, press triangle, press triangle. Alan, press triangle, bro.
Sorry, I've been so focused on healing, I completely forgot about that. That was completely on me.
Are you crazy?
Just for you, bro.
I'm getting him from behind me. Don't worry. We got him.
Oh my goodness. I'm spamming this shit right now.
Don't understand. Oh man.
Watch out, like gay ass all guys. Yo,
dead.
chirp.
You got him.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Venom's here. Venom. I still Venom.
Good shit, Tadish.
Fuck. Yo, this Unibeam, I ain't gonna lie, bro.
Fire, it's fire. Yeah,
bro.
Yo, especially when it's a big body. Like, that's what I guess, remember in the first round?
Oh my god.
It was useful against me.
Yeah.
Yo, you guys are cooking, bro.
Bro, how are they not going for those squids, bro? Are they stupid?
Oh my goodness.
Going after Venom, throw them again.
He's definitely trying his best to tank me crazy, but he's not.
Oh, that did not work. I thought I was so slick, bro. I tried to put in the turret behind them.
Dog, they're all trying to solo me good.
I don't want to play now.
Oh fuck, bro. They got the aerial advantage. Some dude pushed up on top of them shooting all the way.
34 seconds, bro. Don't think that's the point.
Oh, they're getting the point, bro.
Get some height. Nice.
Wait.
No, this is touch it.
No.
Venom?
Good all ball. Great all.
Can you heal?
Where are you? I was healing
It's okay, I'll get that.
I was also healing Surf, bro.
Good shit. Yeah, keep him alive. That was a great ult. Yo, fuck this fag, Benny, bro.
This is great.
Oh fuck, I died. Bro.
I was trying to heal you, but I think you're behind a tree for some reason. I was trying it and it just wasn't hitting you.
I know. No, it's because they were shooting at me, so I was trying to pull up behind them. I was
They were gooning at you?
Trying to implement some like agile tactics, you know?
Oh my god, bro, they're walking us down.
Yeah.
Dude, because I'm on the wrong side of it.
Let's go.
Yo, their Punisher is violating me, son.
Punisher?
Oh my god. Yo, shut.
Went to the soldier,
I'm coming back as a Punisher, bro. Time. Punisher, last minute, bro.
Oh, someone get on point, please. Someone get on point.
Okay, I'm going.
Yeah, fear who, bitch?
That's good, bro. Yo,
Can't stand Magnetos, bro.
Kill their storm. Kill the gun storm. Yeah, yo man, I'm telling you, man. Last second Punisher was a good idea, bro.
On point?
Kill their venom.
We did it.
Fuck yeah.
We did it. Yay.
Good shit, bro. Good shit, fellas. Yo, when you're
33 assists, good shit, boy.
You're good locking, bro. Holy shit, Alan, you locked in, bro.
Good game, lads.
16% accuracy, bro. Let's fucking go, bro.
16.
Good shit, Tannis.
Oh,
Are we saying we done?
I'm down for comp. If you guys are off, I'm down for comp.
No, I'm done. I'm gonna listen.
You guys are down. No, I'm done too. Alright, guys. Easy, buddies.
What time is it?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the gym, yo. Good night, bro.
Oh, God.
Hey, man. Jim, don't sleep, bro.
Amy, what are you saying?
Yeah, I got a couple of me.
I bet. Play till we lose.
Yeah, play till we lose, yeah.
Play till we lose 1.
Yeah,
if we lose the first game, I'm off.
Yeah, I'm off.
I bet.
Easy, yo.
Later. Have a good workout, brother.
Thank you, bro.
Who's party leader? Is there full beef?
I don't know. I'll leave. I'll invite you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been exclusively just playing Magneto, bro.
Okay.
Which hero do you think you want to be today?
I am the god of thunder and
Chances they ban Magneto is very slim.
Now,
Okay, it looks like we
who
have
am I gonna banish from this match?
Okay.
Ooh, let's go.
Oh. Sure, I'll be mad too. I think we have to ban healers.
I think Storm.
Really, Storm?
Requested by Magneto? Are you dumb?
That's so toxic. My ban.
Oh, I like Strange. I like Strange as a ban.
Right.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, can we ban one of the like cloak and dagger? Because.
What a song?
Actually, no.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of.
I'm not for Hulk actually. Do Hulk.
Honestly, I'm gonna just stay out of this, bro. I'll let y'all go.
I forgot about the healer nerf.
More? Oh, they're running dives. They're running dives for sure.
Like I said, GG.
Boogie online. Oh my god. Please tell me so. Yeah. Okay. So who are they running? Probably Thor? Thor or Venom or Magic. Okay, I'm willing to bet they have Magic.
Yeah.
That I truly learned what it was to
30 seconds before you
Dog, has Ghosty God moved his controller all game?
I don't think so.
Goon too soon?
It says Switch Jack. This guy knows somebody on their team.
Switch Jack. Switch Jack. Okay, Goatman shows.
The battle starts in 5.
Okay, Penny is
4,
nice.
3, 2, 1. All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got it?
Yo, Ghosty God has not lifted his finger.
Oh, so apparently.
I think game might be cancelled.
Quick track with him.
They have a mag.
Oh, behind. Spider-Man.
Oh, they have Spider-Man. That's what they did. That would be better. I'm getting no heals. No, I'm really getting 0 heals.
Bro, we're getting assaulted. In the back.
I'm in the back.
No, that time somebody just stole the heal from you. There you go. I'm not a brick for you, bro.
That vehicle to its destination.
Spider-Man got me. Yeah, I'm being molested by Spider-Man.
Yeah, we have one healer? Yeah. I fuck it, I gotta switch.
I never wanted to fight him.
Oh no, go
No,
my
he's
switch.
just yeah,
Yeah, I have my team. I'm gonna report that motherfucker. Unless he goes crazy.
What are you trying to find out? Behind. Let's see Spider-Man now.
Yeah, he's back. Back? Oh, good shit. Alright, I got the convoy.
Behind? The other way's behind?
Goodbye for now.
I am Thor, Odinson, god of thunder.
Me and the Magneto are beefing each other.
Spider-Man on me? Oh, I tried to get him on the side.
Yeah, I don't know how to do
How did they come in my ult?
Is it Magneto?
No, dude. There's what I'm hitting you at the same time. What's the message that they can do in
Holy fuck.
Energy flows stronger.
Okay, they're about to cap this, bro.
Yo,
Do we have any range players who can get?
well, we're getting washed. What is this team called? He does this early. Spider-Man. Thank you, good. Can't get the angle
Good
anymore.
shit.
I think we're doing, I don't know what.
Give him torch dead. Nice. Good shit. Big. Okay, we have 4 minutes to make up for this disaster.
He fucking dead, that's it.
That's hilarious.
I'm not done with this fight yet.
Spider-Man got someone.
Bro, what's damage you use?
A lot of things. Is it tough?
I'm on.
I'm dead. What you got a 7, bro? Are you using this?
Okay, I'm not gonna need those, dude.
How many things do we want?
We have one.
Spider-Man's V3. We have one.
Okay.
How are you with Boost?
I'm good.
Okay, let me read that.
Are you sure? No, at that point you'd be good. Actually, no,
I'm
yeah.
not
Okay, yeah, as long as you're using the team up, it's fine. Yeah, let's go.
Okay, he's just a good off thing. I need more bulk. Okay, I feel like we locked in. I feel like the team is a collective lock.
Okay. You do you like the Hawkeye?
Bounding back into action.
Yeah, I think Jack is Natty Daddy.
There's a Jack twist on the team, though.
I know when I'm just started. I thought you were talking about somebody on my team. He's talking about OPG backstage. Nope.
Double KO. Right to the toe. Strike. Get that vehicle moving again.
You good?
Oh, fuck.
The final 10 seconds.
You good?
The Magneto's a full week.
How you feeling? What are you on?
Big. Low.
Okay.
The current score is 2-0.
I died.
Time to switch things up, including which side you're on. The right heroes could
How
make
are so
all
many
the
of them left?
difference.
I am the god of thunder and the mightiest avenger.
You good? Okay.
Come inside.
Yeah, I'm here.
The right, the right.
Exiled from Asgard
Use the flank.
as a youth. Now, I would lay down my life to save it.
Oh, you're doing the
No one wants to use the flank with me?
But you're dead. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. They didn't see you anyways.
Stay
It's all
strong.
good, yeah. Holy fuck, bro.
It will take more than light to solve our problems.
You're underestimating my friend.
Okay, we got a pig. Oh, okay. Oh, no, man.
Got him. We got one.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have to stop them from securing the mission area.
I missed.
Alright, good shit.
I love that. How do you open it?
I am Thor, Odinson, God of Thunder.
One. Nice.
Who?
Oh.
I got it, no, don't,
Yeah, the team up is so nice.
It is. Told you, I can play good, bro. Real.
Man, you're locked in, bro. You're locked in. And you're locked in.
Yeah. I've been holding
I
up.
couldn't feel the Let go.
I am Thor, Odinson.
Oh, fuck! I used my ult and then died right after.
What's happening, bro?
Awaken the rage of battle.
Take it back, bro.
Behold the God of Thunder!
Oh my god.
I am Thor, Odinson, God of Thunder.
I thought he was supposed to figure all this out.
Do not let them seize control of this place. Slow down. Battle Fury first.
You need to stop that vehicle in its tracks.
To battle again.
Better stop that vehicle.
Awaken the rage of battle. The mighty ocean's king has fallen. I am Thor Odinson, god of thunder.
Better stop that vehicle! Now might be a good time to stop that.
To battle again!